just coming through here. We'll start with June. U.S. Retail sales just down 0.6%. Consensus forecast was 0.1% to the upside. So a nice beat there on the month-over-month number. Export-import prices for June as well. Also to the upside, 0.5% on the export side, 0.1% on the import side versus 0.3 was the consensus. Philly Fed manufacturing index for July, 15.9 positive. Reading on that, there was an expectation of a -3 prints coming through that number. Retail sales group, if you take out autos, 0.5% to the upside versus 0.2. They're just waiting on the year-over-year number here for export and import prices. We also got jobless claims, weekly jobless claims, 229,000 versus 237,000. -0.2 on that import number versus 0.2 positive that was expected. Retail sales, if you take out autos and gas, still positive, 0.6% versus 0.1. And the year-over-year number there, better part of 4% for retail sales in June versus 3.6% expected there. So across the board, I mean, retail-wise, actually not bad, a little bit better than expected, I think, for most. More Fed speech coming up today. Kugler at 10 o'clock. We'll watch out for that, see if there's any headlines. More housing data coming through. Looks like Fed's Cook coming up at 1:30 this afternoon as well. But yeah, a whole bunch of data dumped there at 8:30 for the overall market, which appears to be liking these numbers so far this morning as we gap to the upside, coming off that nice recovery yesterday following a bit of a flush mid-morning. Back to the upside we go here this morning. More earnings to digest. President Trump wants sugar in his Coke instead of corn syrup.
Saw that.
To which Coke said, sure, but not. We'll take care of the recipe. Don't, like, leave that up to us, I think.
There was like a behind-the-scenes conversation that he disclosed that they didn't end up wanting to disclose. Whether or not they end up making it into a single product or a different product, Brendo, with sugarcane sugar.
Trump
That's
Coke?
what we're looking for there. Yeah, exactly. Trump Coke. I can totally see that. Are you kidding me? Lots to talk about today, guys. Taiwan Semi delivering record Q2 profits. We'll get into that as the world's largest chip maker continues to do well. The crypto bill also advancing in the House. Bless you, Neil. After the longest open vote in modern House history, felt like a marathon. And then Pepsi, obviously, with that Coke headline reporting earnings, Brendo, and Meta and AWS launching an interesting program. But really what I want to talk about is OpenAI looking to diversify yet even more away from Microsoft, striking a deal with Google Cloud.
I feel like this is just going to end in them going public at some point whenever they get to that point. But yeah, another step in that direction. Here's the headline for Lucid. Uber aiming to deploy 20,000 or more Lucid vehicles equipped with the Neuro driver over the next 6 years. So yeah, huge pop here for Lucid. Better part of $1 to the upside on that. So teaming up with, you add Uber to a headline these days, and can't not be positive, guys. Good morning.
That's great.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's great. They also initiated for a reverse split. They filed, initiate plan to reverse stock split. Who knows when that's going to happen, but I guess it's a good morning already if you're a Lucid shareholder. There's still a pretty good short float, and this is doing a ton, an absolute ton of volume. I don't want to chase too far. I try to get that 3. But obviously, look, we had good numbers, preliminary numbers so far. We could get a vote today on the crypto bill. That should be interesting. Make sure you got Circle, ETH, all that kind of good stuff in play. Going right back to, we'll love those TSM earnings. They should be lifting the tide of all the chips, with the exception of Micron, and we'll get into that, why they're looking a little bit weaker. So far, so good. Although I just saw Shaggy say, what was that drop in Google? I'm not aware of Alphabet moving around. Yeah. Right now, Lucid's the thing doing crazy volume. Don't want to try to pick up this bid, but I don't want to chase it too far.
Yeah, I did a little bit of chasing there, Neil. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, some good news. Let's see if it can sustain that $3 level. I'm watching it right now. Let's go to the 1-minute chart as well here. But yeah, let's see how well it sustains over that $3 level. Exciting stuff. I did not expect this to happen. This is fresh news right here. And yeah, a little bit of a large cap association trade on this one with the deal with potential deal with Uber there. So we know where Lucid comes comes from, if you kind of take a look at the chart on the left, this thing is down from its former glory here. Again, I don't know how many times it's been split, but let's go to the weekly chart here.
I don't think it's split before.
But you can see right here, pre-SPAC days, this was absolutely beautiful. This was actually one of my, I guess, best trades of my trading career, I would say. Getting into the SPAC and then getting out on the acquisition news in and around the 50s. Nice. But since then, oh boy, has that swing short been absolutely amazing. Now, I don't know if people were trying to hold until zero, but it is starting to move once again on some solid news. These are weekly candles right here. Prior structure is all the way at $4.37. Now, I forget what the short float on Lucid is, Neil, but if I remember correctly, I think it's easily over 15%.
48, I have.
48%. Oh boy. What is the float here? Let's take a quick look. 1.2 billion shares float. And a 50%, oh boy. Talk about some destruction potential here.
Oh my.
Let's see if we can, destruct some of these orders on the ask here. Oh boy. So yeah. Anyways, let's just keep it simple. What is prior structure? This is the weekly chart. Prior structure is 360s. We're testing that right now. Next bus stop maybe in and around that 440 mark. And then if we can get to $5.35, maybe on a day like today. But 1.2 billion?
1.2
billion with half of it short float. Yeah, you're gonna need. I think we can get enough dollar volume to push 100%.
It explains the reverse split too. Why they want to do a reverse split.
What's that?
They also filed for a reverse split as well.
Yeah,
because it's so diluted, I guess that's another reason why they wanted to file for the reverse split.
Makes sense.
Apparently, Rivian's going in sympathy, which makes, some sense, I suppose. But clearly, like, Lucid is the one that's really going. Like, Rivian, that's a sympathy play. It's on 400,000 shares to 37 million I have for Lucid on volume. So a sympathy play over here right now in Rivian. But it's Lucid that's really going, gentlemen. So already a wild morning. You don't really know. Like, this won't have made the watch list because this just dropped literally at 8:30 with economic data here in Lucid. Lots of things are making highs, but that one probably going to lead the volume today on the Nasdaq is my guess. Let's go back over to the desk and see what else we got going on.
Yeah, if you missed it, here we go again. I'll throw it up there. So it's going to involve a $300 million investment from Uber into Lucid as well as part of this robotaxi partnership. Again, Uber going to deploy or work to deploy 20,000 or more Lucid vehicles over the next 6 years, which will include that $300 million investment. There is going to be a vote, apparently, on this 1-for-10 reverse split, so not a done deal yet as far as the reverse split goes. Guys, I also see, as of June 30th, 33%, so not a huge discrepancy there. The prior one, which was June 13th, was 47%. So I think it has come down a little bit, but still massive, 33% short side.
And apparently this Neuro, where is it here? Neuro something or Neuro, the Lucid Neuro robotaxi's already been operating, Brendo, in a closed circuit in Vegas with some data already being collected there. As you mentioned, the other piece of the news is that 110 reverse split. They did file a proxy statement with the SEC regarding a special stockholder meeting to authorize the board to issue that reverse 1-to-10 split. So we'll keep an eye on this one. But this is one that could be going all day, guys, especially with the higher short float and the headline. This has been kept down a while. Just looking at some technicals here, Brendo, with respect to how Lucid's been trading as of late. We've taken out some key levels over here, that high in May at $3, well above that with that 370 look. So I'd like to see this one maintain above $3 to kind of keep that continuity going.
Lots of other things to discuss. We'll keep an eye on Lucid here, see if we are coming back in a little bit. But interesting note from Mark Andreessen specifically on Meta this morning. They're essentially taking the stand that $5 billion in this privacy trial, which is tied to the 2019 FTC fine. It's whether or not it goes in their favor or not, it's looking a little bit like it won't at this point. And how negative does that end up being for Meta, as far as this quarter is concerned? But Downside, I mean, it's not really doing much. Downside the past couple of days here for Meta.
And it's a who's who of who's testifying at this trial. Zuck testified already earlier in the week. Peter Thiel also going to take the stand. I think also Sheryl Sandberg, the former CEO of Meta. So it's a who's who back to 2012 when this whole thing started. We reported on it on Monday. I don't know if it's going to be a major headwind for Meta, Brendo. I mean, it feels like, you know, they probably get a fine and then they move on from that unless there's going to be structural changes to the company and how they operate. Well, my concern about this, or anybody who working at Meta who wants to maintain some privacy, is opening the books, because there's going to be scrutiny of memos between executives, which sheds light on how the company operates and could actually build the framework for future suits by the DOJ or the SEC or whoever else wants to come after Meta for whatever.
From a technical standpoint, if you go to a daily chart here, we're rolling over definitely as we go on in days here, but looking a little bit like a double top on the daily chart, guys, for Meta.
More than a little bit like a double top. I think, but I still think we're in a healthy pullback for Meta. And the 50-period moving average is the first place that I'll look for a bounce on the stock, and there's like multiple reasons why. Lucid might retake that 3. I didn't get the punch through 3, but now I have like I should have like 7 as a price, not 14. But I'm not gonna let it lose too much past that 3 level. Maybe give it a couple of cents past, but we'll give it a couple more shots because it's gonna do so much volume. I want to take multiple tries at this stock. 680 on, for just regarding Meta, this is where I think we're going. It makes all the sense in the world. If we lose 700 today, probably not. Market looks pretty strong. I don't think we're losing 700 today. You could have an initial bounce there, and then you have 50-period and prior support at the 680. It gives you a consolidation area where you can then retake the high, which I think is usually the way you want to go in this type of a situation. You can't ignore that we had a really good bounce and sort of hold after all of the Trump hoopla yesterday and the Powell, I could call it the Powell hoopla. And it was a really good hold for the market, but not everything was able to rally at the end. You ended up with a pretty consolidated, the low kind of situation for Meta. So at least in the time being, I think you stay bearish, but we've got some support 700, 680 makes some sense to me as well. 100% think that this is still a great story going forward. Like, I think of the Mag 7 names, I do like them more than the bad half. Like the NVIDIAs and Metas are certainly in one bucket, and then you can put some of the others in the rest. But temporarily speaking, I think you got a little more strength in like an Amazon than you would Meta, at least until Amazon gets a little bit higher. So I'm probably sitting this one out. I'm sort of looking more bullish for the most part today, so I don't know how aggressive I'd be looking at Meta in particular.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that double top look there. I have a couple anchors from last year, the beginning of last year actually, and you can see all of 2024 we held pretty well, coming in pretty aggressively into that April dip. And then again, once again, the anchored VWAP off of that April dip. Prices accelerated pretty aggressively off of that average, off of that moving average, and yeah, off of a false break of that prior high. I think we definitely have a little bit of room to come down if we do decide to, until we can potentially find some more solid buying here. You can see that some prior structures as well, 697s here as well, but yeah, a little bit of a break in trend currently. Let's see if that selling can continue. On the intraday, we've been selling a little bit, I wouldn't say aggressively, but back-to-back days here for the past week or so. Last Thursday, we got some strong selling, and since then, we've been getting back-to-back days with some strong sell sentiment. I don't know if we're gonna get the same today, but 699 is prior day's low. So can we hold 700, already trading a little bit above and holding above that level in the pre-market currently? And I think if I want to look for it to kind of recover back up towards some of its more recent highs, maybe just a simple kind of a trend break of these sellers finally stepping off as well. Look at that market go. What's going on there? I have no idea. But Meta is definitely a good look off that double top.
Might just like the data this morning. Like, we might just like the continuing sales. Well, obviously, jobless claims pretty good. Like, it's mostly green in terms of the indicators off the morning. We got some Fed speak a little bit later on, but I just feel like you lean into. We talked about this before. Why I was like, why do we change this from a bull to a bear? Yesterday, I know you had some fun with that there, Obi. When I wasn't even Like, you did it right in front of me, and somehow I managed.
I was like, I'm going to change this.
You said you were changing it.
I was like, I'm going to change this.
Yeah, which doesn't make. Anyways, that being said, we've talked about this consolidative market, whether I'm looking at the ES or whether you're looking at the NQ, which I'll stay on the NQ for a quick little second here because that's usually what I'm going to be paying attention to a lot of times. We've gone and bounced off of similar support for multiple days now. Like, how many times do we have to just consolidate off the top before we acknowledge, hey, we're the big stuff is in a range bound market here, and you're buying the dips off support. That's just what you're doing here right now on the Nasdaq. So, as long as that's the case, there's going to be outliers. You want to make sure that we talk about relative strength and relative weakness all the time. It's important to acknowledge. Like yesterday, if you were trading crypto, you wanted to be in ETH and things related to stable coins more than you wanted to be in Bitcoin. And when we're bouncing off these lows, if we get another dip buy into the lows, fly on my coffee. If you get another dip buy into the lows, you want to make sure you're looking at the right stock. Like maybe you don't like a Micron on the chip space because they got a negative news story, and you like an AMD because it's been performing better. Maybe you like an Amazon over a Meta if we dip into some of these lows and retest. But as far as I'm concerned, we're in a buy the dip market until proven otherwise.
Yeah, no, I like.
A couple other things to consider here. Big day yesterday for Roblox. I was just hearing it was moving around once again, maybe downside a little bit there, rejecting that 120. 120, I guess 120 and a half, that area was a bit of a rejection yesterday for Roblox, but that was absolutely huge yesterday. I wanted to show you this as well. This is the 10-year. If you zoom out to a daily chart, we're sitting just below 4.5, where it's been over the past couple of days, but very, very volatile. It's a daily chart again. Very volatile yesterday, intraday on some of those headlines. So just to recap, if anyone missed it or is coming in a little bit late here, monstrous amount of retail and also import-export data came out at 8:30 this morning, 0.6% on the month-over-month retail sales number to the upside versus 0.2. Import-export prices both green on the month-over-month number. Again, 3 months in a row, U.S. net exporters 0.5% to the upside by a long shot as well. Export prices overall 2.8% to the upside versus negative 0.2 on the import side. So seeing that trend continuing.
Yeah, I want to build on your Roblox point, if that's all right, Brendo. Yeah. Interesting look here from Roblox, looking to kind of make things safe for younger users, for teens and preteens as well. So looking to basically make sure that they're not speaking to anybody that they're not really supposed to be speaking to online, but at the same time also expanding their user base by allowing these kind of adult-only chats where, adult-only things are talked about, launching that new advanced safety innovation today. So not a bad look. And when you look here at the chart, this is a multi-month run. Brendo, back in March, we were at $50 on Roblox. We are now just 25 pennies off $120. This has been one hell of a move here lately on Roblox.
Yeah, just in the past week or so, as you're mentioning, just absolutely monstrous for that thing quietly. Just keep my eye on other headlines here. Here's Starbucks as well. This has been slowly sliding to the downside over the past couple of days, and then you get the gap down this morning. Derek coming up with the upgrades and downgrades. One of maybe which is on there. Starbucks guys. Jeffries with the downgrade today. Not liking that is the market.
Roblox from the April lows, 110%. 110%. And it is just a straight shot. This was going to be, like the chart in some ways reminds me of Abercrombie a couple of years ago, where there's once there's a couple of down days in a row, you're probably going to see like a 15% retracement or 20% retracement, something along those lines. There's likely to be something pretty crazy. As far as SBUX is concerned, and we're going to go to Adair in a quick little second, we talk about relative strength and relative weakness. I mean, I like Abbott Labs on there probably if I'm looking for some shorts, but you can't ignore 9-0 for a potential flat bottom break here on Starbucks. Complete and utter rejection of the 200 period moving average, flat bottom at 90 and the 50 period underneath. It makes a lot of sense structurally that could turn into a pretty nasty short. Let's go check out to see what the analysts are saying, because Adair's got some upgrades and downgrades.
Oracle's been really strong as of late, getting this upgrade from Scotiabank to kick off the upgrade side of things. Certainly a name to keep an eye on here. FUTU here, FUTU, next up with a Barclays upgrade, a $176 price target. Cars.com getting upgraded by JP Morgan Chase, up about 5.5%. Then we've got Cognizant actually down right now pre-market, but getting upgraded by Evercore ISI. Starbucks, as mentioned earlier here, downgraded by Jefferies Financial, certainly of interest there. It's been about a year since they switched CEOs and poached Brian Niccol from CMG. Then we have Shake Shack getting downgraded also by Jefferies, so they're doing a couple downgrades in this food space today. Sonic next here with a downgrade from Stephens. And last but not least, Affirm up on the day, but getting downgraded by Deutsche Bank. What do you?
Yeah, Affirm, one we've traded before, actually, when they had that the news with JPM for payment processors a few sessions ago. That was a great short. But what's a good long? And I know we just showed Roblox, but Oracle, just as gorgeous. What's that? Okay, I didn't really draw that perfectly, so this will be a little bit off. 88% from the lows. So pretty good in its own right is Oracle. Great stock, old stock, obviously. But this is in the midst of a new breakout. In the afternoon, there were there was a bunch of things running, but there were two very distinct kind of program buyish stocks. One of them was Oracle, and the other one was AMD. At right around the same time, they caught a similar bid. And when you see that, you look for continuation. I actually have AMD on my list a little bit more, but Oracle back into prior. If AMD doesn't set up, then Oracle back into prior highs, and anything over looks absolutely gorgeous. Great stock in the long term. I wish I could. I mean, I'm sitting there like I was dip buying Meta and this year Nvidia, some Bitcoin. I own Oracle, but wish it had been this one. What can you do? Who knew that this was going to go this ham? But congratulations to all that have it. I know some were trading in the afternoon. I think you look for some continuation after this high break.
Yeah, no, I'm I got my eyes on Lucid here as well. There's actually a 3,000 lot chaser at 37, but I think he just got taken out as well. But out of the upgrades and downgrades, I really like that Starbucks kind of more confluence for that stair step down as well. But with that bit of a downgrade, maybe potentially getting that gap down here. Yeah, for the past few days, we've sold off. Couldn't really get to that 100 mark. We have this day from, when is this, last week or so. This is July 9th. So we got all the way to 98s, and since then, a bit of a failure to follow through of this breakout of that 95, 96, and coming right back into the low of this range here. So let's see. Starbucks with a little bit of a downgrade. Can we break this recent support structure, a little bit of a double bottom, maybe triple if you really want to kind of look into some of this support, this consolidation, whatever it is. Let's see if it can crack distinctly below this, or does it still hold as support? I think a little bit of a gap down coming into these levels should be interesting on Starbucks.
Just keep my eye on Pepsi here. We'll get to Pepsi coming up in the rundown as well, but this thing just extending. I mean, there's not a lot of volume behind this, but I mean, this is impressive for a stock like Pepsi in the pre-market.
And like when you look at the sales, Brendo, it wasn't like overwhelming in how well they did. In fact, their global demand for food and beverages was a lot better than North America. North American food declined 1%. Drink volume fell 2%. Surprisingly, though, that Pepsi Zero Sugar saw double-digit growth as people obviously look to be more health conscious, and to build on that health conscious, they're leading into the protein, high protein snacks and multicultural trends. You know I love that, Brendo. I'm going to talk about it. So Pepsi's capitalizing on protein and health food craze with support from brands like Sieta Foods and Sabra. They're trying to improve in-store availability and shelf placement of these healthier choices.
If I see a Pepsi can with like 32 grams of protein on the bottom of it, like that's just that's getting ridiculous. Just reading through a couple of analyst notes here. Dan Ives picking it today as well. So one that he's not typically fond of, but or a group anyways that he's not typically fond of. But even Dan Ives positive on Pepsi today, guys. Pretty impressive here so far.
It really is, and you know, like you can pretty clearly see why people might be positive on this. Like, look at this. If I'm just sort of putting it from here where it got steep to the downside, a trend line from here in September of last year, and you can see This is breaking out right now on Pepsi. Not usually a stock that we talk about or get remotely excited about, but certainly a 4% move on Pepsi is a big one. That's significantly more than it's moved in any session since probably its last report. And this is a trend break. As long as it doesn't, on a daily, remember on a time frame matters, on a daily chart, it really hasn't broken the trend unless we actually close this day above and maybe even open and break away from that, but you are getting a trend break here on Pepsi. You can get some short-term momentum into it. I'm not necessarily a fan of it in the long term compared to a bunch of other things, but I think you could do a heck of a lot worse in terms of looking for like a kind of like a short-term, lower risk swing. But I don't know. Someone the other day was asking about swings, and we mentioned AMD. Like AMD does 4%, you don't blink an eye. Pepsi does 4%, we get excited. I think that kind of speaks for itself. Nothing against Pepsi. That's a stock that I used to own this one for a long time, and then it kind of lost its luster. Like, let me just do this for a second. Let me show you why I'm saying this, and then I'm not really getting as excited as I suppose I could be on Pepsi. Like, it really, on the monthly chart, it really broke structure right around the 165, 170 area, and it was sort of an obvious place that why would you still hold on to it? But now that I look at this, because this is a 3-month chart. Sometimes I look to really zoom out. On a 3-month chart, there's your 50-period moving average that we're actually bouncing off of as well. Maybe I do like this more than I think. I'm gonna have to do some work on this. No, but it's not at the 200 on a monthly yet. Do I like anything on a weekly chart here? I'm just using my e-signal to comb through. On the weekly, there's really not much of anything I like on the weekly chart. So I'd give it like a B setup here for a bit of a trend break on that daily if you're into Pepsi. But it's more of a pass for me.
I have it on my list for sure. I think I like it because we're already breaking out of this more local structure here for the past, I guess, from the beginning of the month of July. You can see that high coming in at 137. So I was like, in the pre-market, we can see that it already kind of pushed and pulled back and holding that prior resistance now as support and getting that acceleration all the way up into what is the high right now, 140.95. So yeah, just looking at the weekly, like Neil just did, I think that we are in a bit of a downtrend here, kind of gapping up into some of these prior support levels, asking the question that, is this another case of support turned resistance? You can see that this is kind of support from here as well, and we've got a lot of headspace all the way up into 150, right? So I think 150s, this is where selling kind of started to step down again on this kind of a break of trend that we've had. Oh boy, look at this. This trend has been pretty dominant for the majority of the past, I guess, multiples of years, and then finally kind of taking a crack in 2023, just breaking that bit of a trend and starting to step down as well. But yeah, regardless, let's see. This stock is very, very strong, and this is one of the other ones that I'm just like, yeah, stocks only go up if you just keep on going back and back. You can see all the way from 1968. I should have been buying this stock, DCAing from 1968. So, you know, it's one of those ones that has these strong fluctuations over time. But yeah, it is very interesting when a name like Pepsi can give us some strong volatility in the pre-market like this. It's definitely going to be on my watch today to see if we can get any sort of continuation. Now, of course, you guys know with the earnings reports, I like to throw on that anchored VWAP, and best believe right away, I know it's already holding that pretty well in the pre-market session. So let's see if this continues to be the case going off of the open on Pepsi.
All right, let's just jump into what we need to know here this morning. We'll start with a look at the overall market, just keeping an eye on Lucid here as well still. Hanging out at the highs, so definitely a positive note here for Lucid.
Yeah, Brendo, looking good here to start the morning, at least above 6,300. We closed out yesterday, 6,304 on the ES September contract. We're a little above 6,300. We're a little bit below. As you can see there on the chart, we've been quite consolidative since the 6th of July. We're above it today with the overnight high being 6,315. So we'll continue to use that 6,350 as our level of resistance. If we lose 6,300, we're looking to that overnight low, which is 6,228. We'll say 6,275, Brendo, as support.
Tighter and tighter consolidation forming on higher time frames right across the board. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you jump down to the description of this video. Grab the watch list. Why not? Absolutely free. Comes right to your inbox every single morning. All you have to do is hit that link, enter your email, and then you can have that. Has everything you need to know in the pre-market. That's moving around. Then you come hang out at 8:30, and we get you ready for the open at 9:30 still. I don't know why I can't stop staring at this. It's still holding just below 340 at this point. But let's start things off with semiconductors this morning. TSMC, not TSMC. There we go. Better than expected results, although we are coming back in a little bit here. This should, however, provide some sort of positivity for this group in general.
It was a record quarter, Brenda. It was a record quarter, no two ways about it. Let's talk about it. Net profit surged 61% year over year to 398.25 billion new Taiwanese dollars. That easily beat the 377 the street was looking for. Revenue hit a record as well, 933.5 billion new Taiwanese dollars. There again, well ahead of the 931 the street was expecting. The strong beat was really attributed to booming demand for AI-related chips and advanced semiconductor nodes. How they did in their different segments. High-performance computing segment saw a 60% increase in total revenue. A big beat there. The advanced chips, which is anything above 7 nanometers and below, that accounted for 74% of their total wafer revenue this quarter. Now, with respect to the guide, they're guiding Q3 revenue in the range of 31.8 to 33 billion US dollars, which implies, Brendo, a 38% year-over-year bump. With respect to the full year 2025 revenue, they're expecting to grow about 30% year over year. But there are macro and geopolitical headwinds. Trump's tariff threats on Taiwan, they do loom large, Brendo. 32% announced in April, with more possible. The CEO noted no current impact on customer orders, but acknowledged elevated uncertainty, and additional concerns include the new Taiwanese dollar strength and potential order cuts. So a Forex headwind here for TSMC.
As I was saying, all of these positives so far this morning. 2 days in a row, though, specifically, guys. AMD with a great day yesterday. AMD looking pretty good, trying to lead the way here right now.
Concern with TSM is I feel as if they have a small history of these gaps and then trying to fill in the gap a little bit. I'm suspecting that could be the case. So I don't want TSM specifically. Great numbers, and I'll look at some other chip names for sure. I don't want TSM unless I'm doing some kind of a late morning mean reversion play where we buy the dip. Before I get to AMD, I just want to pull up VLCN. Let me get that one right for you guys. Volcron. Look, they announced a $500 million private placement using 95% to do what? Acquire Bitcoin. Boom. Because that's what everyone's doing. So if you're wondering the volume spike, that is the deal with them. They also had like a 1-for-8 reverse stock split, I believe, announced. That was back on June 10th. So very much in play and doing a heck of a lot of our vol. I mentioned when we were talking about Oracle that a couple of things at 1 o'clock got a similar program by it. It was Oracle and it was AMD. AMD's already starting to go again. And obviously, let me just go back to this daily chart. Look, obviously, it's done really, really nicely since breaking this 150. I'm just looking for a continuation play. Until we get to 165-ish here, I think I want to look constructively long off the 160 level for myself. It won't be like the prior highs all the way down here at 158.5. So it does give a little bit of leeway if we go on a bigger dip. But if we're losing the bid underneath that, then I give up AMD for sure. I'm just kind of focused on that one a little bit more than NVIDIA. Traded NVIDIA for a small bounce in the afternoon yesterday, only to watch AMD go ham. I always have them both up, and I do like them both for long, but I'm going to start with AMD first. And if I do see NVIDIA is looking better, I have no issues sort of jumping into the other party. They're both looking pretty good. We'll get to, I understand the semis are all up. We'll get to why Micron's weak. It does stand alone this morning.
TSM, another one on the top of my list for trade plans on the day today. And yeah, a little bit of a push up all the way from a close of 238s from yesterday. Current pre-market high is at 249. Now these are all-time highs. I'm curious to know whether or not this sentiment kind of continues into the open, and can we find places that where kind of structure holds and we can take something through 250. But again, if it's not going to be there, I'm looking at some of these pre-market lows as well. Like Neil said, if we're looking for a potential gap fill, that's quite a ways down. So I'm going to be a little patient off of the open and see what this will kind of do with these pre-market levels. And again, anchored VWAP off of the open here is going to be the same as intraday VWAP, because it kind of the report coming out right at that 4 a.m. Candle on the open there on TSM here. Sorry, what was that? Yeah, so you can see that it's kind of pulling up into it. Now, of course, I also want to be watching Hang Seng and some of the other ADRs here as well while I'm trading TSM. But at the same time, yeah, the chips are pretty strong as of right now. When I'm looking at my basket, AMD is another one that is definitely on my list for a bit of a continuation. This was absolutely beautiful here, where we get that strong grinding trend going into the close, and that strength showing up once again, holding that 160, Neil. Remember when I was like, just a couple days ago, I'm like, this is bigger picture strength, even though sellers are stepping in on the intraday. And look at that, little hold of that 153 yesterday, and we're coming back into some fresh highs. Market tailwind, real strong as well. Let's see what the chips have in store for us today. Oh boy, Lucid looks like it wants the high, man. Look at that. Kind of took some trades on it already, holding VWAP well, holding structure well. Let's see if we can take out that pre-market high in and around 370s. I'm looking for that 420. I don't know about you guys. Let's see if we can get that high.
On to crypto here. Pretty impressive numbers coming just yesterday, July 16th, on its own, 799.4 million on the inflow side of things for Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin ETFs, surpassing inflows past 53.8 billion prior. So, I mean, whether or not these actual bills end up being anything at this point remains to be seen, but definitely the market is anticipating they will.
I kind of look at it as a follow-through by the administration on what they said that they campaigned on. I like to see it get done, Brenda. Let's talk about this because it was quite the saga yesterday. After a 10-hour floor delay, the House finally passed just the debate rules, guys, not even the legislation, just the debate rules for these 3 pieces of crypto-related bills. That's late Wednesday night. The vote followed 2 days of internal GOP conflict, making it the longest vote ever in modern House history on the floor. The bill had initially failed Tuesday due to imposition from hardline conservatives, prompting emergency talks and intervention by President Trump. On Wednesday, moderate Republicans raised objections to last-minute bill changes made to appease some of on the right. Some objected to merging of the 2 bills, which diluted, some of the original legislative intent. And Trump's Tuesday night meeting with 12 conservative Republicans helped flip some of the no votes to yes. And here's what's being talked about, guys. We got the Genius Act, right? This one is going to create, there's the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, and one act banning Federal Reserve issued CBDC, which is central bank digital currency, as central to the industry's regulatory hopes. So the Genius Act already passed in the Senate in June, Breno, but it needs to pass in the House as well.
If anyone was wondering or still wondering why we continue to look at IBIT as far as ETFs go, that number that was up here that I was just mentioning, 799.4 million on July 16 alone, 763.8 million of that went into this one, IBIT. So that's why.
Yeah, and I'm going to focus still primarily because it's a stablecoin phenomenon on ETH and on Circle, and I know some people look at SBET, but I want to read just very quickly. Webull to integrate Webull Pay back into Webull Group, plans to reintroduce crypto trading to global consumer or customer base. So that was the spike on Bull. Obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously because I've drew a line on a chart. This is resistance at about 13.25 or so, maybe 13.30. I think it needs to hold on to that on the way back in. But I know where our bread should be buttered, and we're talking about Circle, and I'm talking about ETH. Circle, just to keep it real simple, I'm looking at the 220 to 222 level on Circle. This got sold off when it looked like, and obviously the vote did get voted down, but it looked like maybe there was going to not happen, and then almost immediately there's going to be a revote, and it seems like they're going to get enough to get the votes to get it positive and get it pushed through. And that just means we broke out on what was seemingly bad news. On seemingly bad news, it broke out and it's squeezing. So the first thing I got to think about is okay, if they try to profit take, where do I want to pick it up? And there was a lot of, if you looked at it here, there was just a ton of liquidity in and around the 222 level to 220. So right in here is when I will look for the first dip buy. And ETH, which we traded, the last 2 days, the first 2 times I've ever traded ETH, and ETHA looks really, really good. It was so super strong. Again, it's trending down, so I think you're gonna need a little bit of patience here. I don't really have an obvious level that's set out. Like, there is a good consolidation around 25 quarter. I feel like we're a little far away for that. So I'm hoping that we trend up and I can just join the VWAP trend like yesterday. Like yesterday at the open, I'm like, I want to be long ETH. What do? Holds VWAP, buy VWAP. That's all I did. It just buy the volume weighted average price because it showed me it was holding the volume weighted average price. So that's what I want to see happen on ETH. And if we trend, then I'm just going to join the trend as many times as possible off the volume weighted average price because it worked so well yesterday.
Yeah, I'm looking at this daily chart here on Bitcoin, and I was just talking to Neil this morning. I was like, that 123,231 is looking a little interesting here. A strong volume as well. A little bit of a pullback. We pulled back all the way to 116,000 there on Bitcoin, and yeah, a little bit of a curl happening. But CRCL. Definitely no curl happening here to the downside as, yeah, we hold some of those prior levels and we got that strong breakout yesterday. So I'm going to be looking for a little bit of that crypto tailwind as well today. If we can continue the circle bid through that prior day high at that 239.69 there, 240s. Let's see if we can distinctively push through those. But we saw that breakout of that prior consolidation structure high coming in. Look at that high volume candle. One of the highest volume candles on the day on Circle yesterday is from the candle that breaks out of that consolidation high in and around 12, I think it was 12.1560s or something like that. And you can see the pullback as well. We talked about this yesterday. So very, very strong kind of price action there. Let's see if that strength and that bid kind of continues going into today. Remember, 300 did not test, but that 298, 299 may be well within range if we have another day of this kind of a run here. And yeah, IBIT, I think we just talked about Bitcoin as well. I think it's something to watch. We can see that ETH as well is starting to catch a leg as Bitcoin starts to kind of settle down as well. We've always seen that in these crypto cycles where like Bitcoin kind of goes first, then it's ETH, then it's all like the altcoins, and it's like, all right, we're going through, it seems like we're going through that cycle once again. So let's see if that 123,231 is of any sort of significance going forward.
All right, let's go on to Lucid. We brought it to you live at 8:30 when we first came on this morning. Absolutely monstrous pop here this morning, 50 plus. I think it actually got to 60% at one point at the highs. If you missed it, here is why Uber is going to invest $300 million into autonomous Lucid vehicles, 20,000 or more over the next 6 years. Also worth noting, they filed a preliminary proxy statement for a 1-for-10 reverse split. There will be a vote on that to come. Huge move here.
That 20,000, that's aggressive. That's quite aggressive there. As you mentioned, 20,000 over 6 years. Expected to launch next year in a major U.S. city. Don't know which one. Hasn't been disclosed. It's going to combine Lucid's vehicle architecture as well as Neural's autonomy system and Uber's fleet management and network. That's obviously the app. It's going to be run by third-party fleet partners. They will operate the vehicles, but it will be exclusively available on Uber. So the way you order an Uber XL or an Uber Green, I think those are the EVs. You're going to be able to order it that way. Uber plans, Brendo, to make multi-$100 million investments in Neural. And Neural, it sounds like that's their advanced or their AV platform there. The electric vehicle maker Tesla obviously launched Robotaxi in Austin this year using that camera and the Neural network as well.
I mean, as you were saying, more to come maybe on the technology side to understand how this is going to work and where, guys, for Lucid.
Yeah, there's still obviously a lot that we got to figure out here. But hey, at least everyone's made everything back from the top. Oh, no, they haven't. Oh, no. Okay,
oh, no. Hey, man, I sold 55, so I think I'm all right.
Oh, everyone's bag-held stuff before. I've bag-held stuff all the time.
All the time.
Look, it happens to everybody. You're like, oh, look, you get such a great rally on something that you own, and then you're holding on to that last 10, 20%, and then you look back, and it's like, well, I guess I probably should have just got out of that at some point. We've all been there. No, but in all seriousness, hey, I don't want to say the bottom's in on Lucid, but for how long this $2 level were we like, and I know Rivian had a similar one at $10, and that's up on some sympathy, yada, yada, yada. But half of this flow to short, maybe not half. No, Brennan had the number in the 30s. I saw one at 45. So let's go with the conservative number. Fair. So a third of this is short. maybe a few. If there's more now than there was before, then that could be bad. But anyway, it's a $2 level. It's a clean break in like a million different ways, whether it's a trend breakout here. I do have my tool up. Whether it's a trend breakout here, or whether it's the 50, the 200, bottoming at $2. I like this. Obviously, the $3 levels of some interest, and we've had support in the 280 range. So I think it's a buy. It's a buy in front of 3. It's a buy in front of 2.8 as well, which we've already held. But I took one shot on the way down that already didn't work, and I like it on the way up. But I don't want to give it past here because I think you load in somewhere underneath $3. I want 2 separate trades here instead of just taking it all at once like I did the first time on Lucid. I think you can get some sympathy play in Rivian, but I won't be doing that because the volume here is ridiculous. And why not just be in the leader? You've done 150 million shares of volume. The only reason I would go over to Rivian is if I saw this completely fall apart and I missed a curl, then maybe I would go over and see if I couldn't like sympathy short on Rivian or something like that. Otherwise, you got to stay laser focused on this tape if you're trading it.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since I've traded a sub $10 stock here, but doing the kind of volume that it's doing and the catalyst that it has, and kind of the history, the pedigree that it kind of comes from, I really kind of like this idea on the day today. But yeah, let's see what we have in store for us. This could very well not work. This again, like Neil mentioned, a lot of bags on this one for sure, because that NAV pre-acquisition was that $10 level, and I'm sure there's a lot of players still kind of holding on from there, and also following days as well. But yeah, $2.08 pre-market lows, and then reacts all the way to 370s. Currently holding the anchored VWAP from where that volume started to come in. That's sitting at $3.19. Kind of these structures lows at that $2.85. Reference low maybe where that buying volume really steps in is at $2.25 as well. So with all those kind of areas defined, let's see what price action does. I'm definitely going to be, again, I have 144, almost 150 million shares traded on the day, and if somebody's going to step into the book, I think it's going to be a little obvious. Maybe some tells there as well. So yeah, I think Neil is definitely right in the fact that you have to be kind of staring this book down pretty aggressively and just kind of playing the price action in the chart as well. So yeah, Lucid wasn't on my watch list last night, but definitely on it now, one of the potential top looks of the day.
Micron, weaker than most here this morning, although we are starting to recover some of that. Just went 112 back through 113 in a hurry on light volume, but still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 even. 4 out of 5 days in a row here to the downside for Micron. Yeah,
and Goldman with a comment today, Brendo. So Goldman initiating coverage on Micron with a neutral rating of $130. The rating here is part of a broader launch by Goldman covering the semicap equipment, foundries, and storage names. Better late than never, I guess. The firm sees semiconductor sector in a mid-cycle phase with very limited near upside potential, at least through 2026. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Microsoft, they say, is well positioned in the memory and storage space, especially with NAND flash, which has been under pricing pressure. Goldman expects a gradual NAND recovery into next year, into 26, potentially boosting Micron's revenue trajectory. However, short-term demand and pricing dynamics remain challenged with really limited upside potential. Contrary to past concerns, though, Goldman views China here as a possible opportunity and a growth lever, not just a regulatory risk. Rising domestic semiconductor demand, Brendo, in China could support Micron's sales despite those global geopolitical headwinds.
Yeah, if we get a rollover here for the overall market, start heading back downside, worth noting Micron definitely on the weak side. I just saw this one as well. Pop up in front of me. Google also leaning to the south side, guys.
Alphabet had a small move down on a flat bottom break. I'm sure when the imbalances come out, I'll be interested to see if that actually has one. But Micron, I was telling you that I felt torn about this because this is the second story that we've heard recently about IFM demand here that was negative for Micron, and they've really been sitting out this little rally that we've had in the chips because of it. But at the same time, if you remember about Micron, since August of last year, about the 110 area was just an absolute brick wall of resistance. There was also an anchored VWAP from the top, which was holding, but I'm just talking brick wall of resistance. So when you come back, like my first thought technically is when you come back into it, test it for a long. So I look at the bottom of this range at 110, and despite the negative story, my thought is I'm looking for a bounce long on Micron at the 110 level. All of that said, if we do get a strong push up, maybe you retest the prior lows at 115 and I get involved. I like other chip names for strength, but I can see a way that this falls in and I'm looking at that 110 long from a technical spot. So yeah, I don't want to ignore this stock today because it's coming into really, really big levels on that daily chart. And we've seen the story before. We get warnings about demand, and ultimately, ball won't lie when their earnings come out. From here, I'm just going to trade the technicals and try not to figure out whether the analysts are right or wrong in this particular case. Maybe they can see the future.
Yeah, I like that gap down that we're doing here. Again, a little distinctly different from some of the other chips happening. So yeah, it is definitely on watch. Market taking a little bit of a pullback here as well, but you can see Micron's already been selling pretty aggressively from Monday. We got that strong quadunk in the pre-market session, a little bit of a leg consolidation, and it seems like that leg is coming back in on the day today. At 111.80s is the pre-market low, already kind of curling off of this downtrend. This downtrend was pretty strong in the pre-market session, coming in all the way from 4 a.m. You can see it has definitely some linearity to that downtrend and that clean break right there as well, with a little bit of a bid probably coming back in towards VWAP and prior day's VWAP as well. Should be interesting because when things kind of sell back to back like that, I kind of want to know where prior day's float is sitting, and that's all the way up here at 116, so about $3 away as well from yesterday's low being at 115. So yeah, kind of after defining some of those levels, let's see what Micron has. It is distinctly different, so I do kind of have it on watch in my tech basket. But like I said, NVIDIA's all-time highs, and then AMD's pushing pretty aggressively as well. TSM all-time highs as well. So Micron distinctly different. This one might be unwinding a little bit more. We'll see.
Pepsi just continues to make highs here this morning. Pretty impressive move on the back of this earnings report. No corn syrup or no cane sugar, I should say, for Pepsi in their recipe yet.
Yeah, wait till Donald goes after him. He went after Coke. You're next, Pepsi. Let's talk about EPS here and how they did. EPS came in at $2.12 a share, above the $2.03 expected by the street. Revenue slightly beating here, $22.73 billion in revenue. The street was looking for $22.27, but a beat on the top line nonetheless. GAAP net income did drop though to $1.26 billion. Compare that to last year when they printed $3.08 billion in revenue. Organic revenue also rose 2.1% year over year here, Brendo. Now let's talk about how they did globally. Global food volume fell 1.5%. Beverage volume globally was flat. North America also saw declines. You see that the food volume declined 1% with beverage volume dropping 2%. So North America continues to suffer from that. Pepsi soda volume with Pepsi Zero Sugar seeing double-digit growth, really acting as a key outperformer in what otherwise was a weaker segment. Let's talk about the margin improvement. They closed sadly here, people lost their job. They closed 2 manufacturing plants in North America during the quarter. It's optimizing transportation and logistics, that's what they're saying, and evaluating market spend for better return on investment. Lastly here, the strategy is Pepsi's capitalizing on the protein, as I mentioned earlier, and the health food craze with support from brands like CAT Foods and Sabra. Sabra we have here in Canada. Executives highlighted the plans to move in-store availability and shelf placements kind of to reignite that demand. We'll see how they do, but a good look right now on the chart.
You're going to be going with Pepsi protein in the near future?
If they sell it at Costco and it's less than $50, Brando, yes, I'll get it.
Valid, very valid. Market coming back in here a little bit, guys. I'm just noting Fed's Kugler making some comments, definitely not in favor of interest rate cuts at this point, basically saying a restrictive policy stance is important right now to keep inflation expectations anchored. So might be part of that move down.
Thanks, Kugler. Well, Pepsi's on a breakout, whether you like it or not. For the record, I said this in the aftermarket show, the whole Coke cane syrup thing, it's just better. It tastes better and it's better for you. Let's go, sugar cane, baby. But look, Pepsi, it was up 4% before. It's up 5% now, and it didn't bat an eye when the market just pulled back there. Like, it really didn't bat an eye. So it might be better than I thought. I was going to sit this sucker out, but oh my goodness, continuation. Maybe you get some kind of, if we continue with this dip, there could be maybe a VWAP player into a 140. But it's not gonna make the top of the list. Matter of fact, the name that we haven't talked about is, and after Obi opines on Pepsi, I'm gonna get to some Tesla.
Yes, sir. So yeah, no, this Lucid's not looking too good right now. So probably want to get out of that one there. But yeah, so the first thing I kind of asked myself when Pepsi got that news yesterday about switching over to sugarcane, I'm like, all right, I want to know what sugarcane futures are potentially doing on that. So I looked at the number 11 contract on sugar right there. So on the weekly, and I automatically realized that this trade might be on a much larger time frame than I'm really looking at, but you can see nice little dip happening here, strong downtrend on sugar 11 contracts there. I don't know how many of you guys trade commodities, but I definitely like to keep an eye on them, especially when one of the larger companies that might be related to said commodity, like a Coke, which sells worldwide. It could definitely have an effect on certain commodities. I have no idea, but I definitely like to look. In terms of Pepsi, though, beautiful earnings reaction right here, holding that anchored VWAP. That's that red one, as you guys can see right here. I'll take off the intraday VWAP. So off of the reaction, that's sitting at 140.63s. We're pulling back pretty aggressively, but the thing is, we also extended pretty nicely off of some of these consolidation breaks. Where are we in the higher time frame, you might ask? We're still way below some of those prior structures. We've been selling off pretty aggressively from the high of 183 here on Pepsi. The local high, or I think that is an all-time high. So a little bit of a downtrend. We kind of talked about this, breaking that downtrend in 2023, pulling up into some of these prior levels as well. I'm looking for that continuation, but again, I'm not going to necessarily try to buy something that's so extended off of VWAP just yet. But if it can kind of pull in and show me a little bit more strength in and around the average volume-weighted average price maybe, and holding above, maybe that can show some sign of continuation and sign that buyers might still be in charge on this stock and maybe poised for a little bit higher. It is definitely doing some relative volume in the pre-market. Look at this expanding relative volume, Neil. We initially started off with under 10. We are currently doing 66 times relative volume in the pre-market on a name like Pepsi. That's absolutely wild.
That's why I went from, oh, I'm probably not going to trade, to, yeah, I'm going to have to move it up the list a little bit and start to consider it. It doesn't make my top 4, but it's certainly up there. By the way, when the imbalances dropped out, I put it in the chat. Lucid was a 4+ million sell imbalance, and Open was a 4 million buy imbalance. Those two stood out the most. I don't really see anything else on the locator. A few 300,000 shares, or just more than that, almost 400,000 shares for BBAI. But those are the big two. Sell imbalance on Lucid, buy imbalance on Open. That got me out of, I just kind of punched out on Lucid when I saw that sell imbalance because I didn't want to fight it. Whoops, I was going to talk about Tesla, but this is still on Pepsi, which is also pulling back in. Tesla, this is the first time in a bit that we finally closed and holding above that 320 level on Tesla. I said if we do that, I'm looking longs. We're back above the 200-period moving average. And the last little while, Tesla has just been languishing with that price level over and over and over again. Maybe it is better on a 15-minute if I go all the way out. You can see the rejection we've had. As long as we hold, I'd probably even, like the 3018 half, like I'd probably even give it into there for us to be able to catch a bit of a dip. But the way the market's pulling in, probably going to require some patience off the open because I think we're going to get some dip buys in here, and Tesla for sure is looking like one. And as I showed you guys, Open with, I want 4 million shares is obviously a lot of shares, but just keep in mind this is a $2 stock, so it's 4 million shares on Open is not the same thing as 4 million on NVIDIA, obviously. But what's weird about that is see what's happening at 195. I can't remember the last time I saw a buy imbalance into a clear held offer at $1.95. Like there's like everything in my gut is telling me to just punch 96 if it breaks at the open, throw a tight stop and see what happens on open. Because it's a big buy and balance and you've got a held offer at 95. It just sort of feels like one of those where you might risk like literally 1 or 2 cents to try and catch even just a scalp move of like 10 to 15 seems even possible on open. So I'm probably going to have it open on my level 2 just for the first little bit, because I can't remember the last time I've seen anything like that. But overall, still going to be focused on chips like AMD, Tesla on my mind as well. Don't forget TSM on their big earnings. As we get the bell in 2 and 1, let's go.
Oh boy. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's get it going, guys. Market's coming in pretty hot with a little bit of a downtrend happening going into the open. Let's see what TSM is going to be up to. Like I said, I'm going to be a little bit patient here. Let that kind of morning action carry itself out before really getting involved. Google with a little bit of a bid. Again, kind of taking back those morning pre-market sells that we kind of saw there as well. In terms of the stocks in play and some of these earnings names as well, I got some of these banks on watch. We know USB reported today and yesterday, the BAC, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs as well, JPM a couple days ago in the Citigroup. So yeah, this whole kind of bank sector I do have on watch. Whoa, TSM, here we go. UAL, another one that kind of gave us a shake and bake. That's ripping as of right now. And TSM, oh boy, that spread is, I guess it's not too bad. It's about 20 to 30 pennies. It's not too crazy just yet on TSM, but oh boy, are we poised to push into that 250? That's the question I have, Neil.
Well, I think we got a decent chance of it. So open does not break that seller at 195. The seller just won. That's why you got to watch out for those held bids and offers. It didn't look like open. I thought it had a chance. It did try to test it, but whoever is selling at 195 remains unbroken. You got to watch that if it does come back in. It's so clear as day. If we get back above into the 190 range, I will probably take a look at taking that breakout trade. All right, here comes NVIDIA and AMD. NVIDIA is dropping hard into the prior close at 171. AMD can't possibly, I looked over. AMD's not at 160 yet, but that's getting very close to the 160 level. That's the first spot where I'm like, okay, we'll look for some kind of a bid if it can catch it. I know Palantir is making some power moves, but both AMD, NVIDIA, and Tesla are all starting to drop in. So that's the first place I was looking for the dip buy. And as I said, I'll have open if it does make that break. It's getting back to that 190 level. It's looking too good to be. It's just, if you can risk 1 or 2 cents sometimes to catch a move like that, I'll take it. So it's getting very close for open to make
Palantir
break.
Just slapped
and Palantir,
up.
what, sorry?
Oh my God. It just slapped up, lick grabbed the pre-market high, and then slammed right back down a whole $1. I'm like, all right, okay.
It does that at the open.
It does that. It does that. Again, yesterday, I got slammed into while I was trying to get along there as well. But, you know, I was like, all right, learned my lesson yesterday. I'm not going to get involved unless and until something really kind of falls into my lap. That's what I realized. I'm like, all right, be a little bit more patient. USB is pushing up a little bit right now. So I was looking for that continuation to the downside because it did gap down a little bit aggressively in the pre-market session. Hey, yo, there's AMD pulling back into prior day's high. Again, we looked at that kind of an extended trend going into the close. And yeah, maybe we are doing a little bit of a gap fill right now with that low of day coming in at 160.18. Prior day, we kind of pulled all the way up to 160.35. So holding that right now, is it going to? I have no idea because it's coming in real hot. 160 is trading back in again. And maybe some of that grind as well from yesterday. Maybe we're poised to kind of revert some of that. We talk about TSM having earnings. Guess what? They're kind of selling off. But oh boy, Neil, Pepsi is slapping to the upside. I don't know what was Pepsi's, what's Pepsi's slogan? Oh. I don't remember. I don't know what it is. It's something like what? I have no idea.
It could be just Pep It. I'm joking.
Just
I don't think that's the slogan. I was just trying to think of something.
I know they have a slogan. I don't have a slogan, but you know what? We'll figure that out later. Pepsi's strong to the upside. Definitely beating. That's what I like. Thank you, Andre. Pepsi, yeah. Oh, sorry, Fabian coming through.
You know what
with,
that tells
with
me, though?
that right there. So yeah, Pepsi, that's what I like. Oh boy, that price action is definitely what I like.
No, but here's, okay, a couple of things. One, 160 does not hold on AMD. So I got in right in front of it. The second it broke consolidation, I jump out. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. if a bunch of people have to think about what your slogan is that long and we're struggling to do it, your slogan sucks.
Yeah. I just haven't seen a Pepsi ad in the longest time.
Anyways, open did break that 195. I said, if it breaks, I'm punching long at 96. And immediately there's resistance at $2, which makes me think there'll be resistance at 205, and then at 210, and then at 215. Regardless. So I'm going to get those orders in there. I don't even want it breaking very far, so I'm going to get out if it breaks 93. There you go. Ridiculously tight stop. Let's go to Adara. News on, oh my goodness, NVIDIA.
So in case you're wondering here, the news on NVIDIA is, I'm seeing this coming through on X, apparently the House China panel is going to be querying the Commerce Department on NVIDIA's China sales. Now, we kind of knew something like this could be coming. NVIDIA is interested in resuming its sales to China of its AI chips. AMD indicated they're interested in doing the same thing. But it looks like now the House China panel is concerned about these sales or the resumption of these sales. They're going to be querying the Commerce Department on these sales. And for the record, Commerce Department Secretary Howard Lutnick, or the Secretary of Commerce, he's basically said that they just don't want them sending their best chips to China. That's kind of more, I guess, the consensus from the Commerce Secretary. Let's see what happens here. Back to you.
Yeah, TSM is tanking as well. Thank you very much, Adara, for that. Some strong news there on NVIDIA, maybe kind of stepping back on what we were thinking is going to happen here. AMD still kind of holding this 60 level pretty nicely, so I'm watching it. If it can hold it with any sort of a distinction, I would like to get involved here. But yeah, let's see if we can chop and churn that 60 VWAP. Where you at? That's coming in at, I guess, 160.76. So yeah, seller's definitely a little bit in charge here as of right now. So let's see if we can kind of reclaim that VWAP and push back above some of those prior levels. But holding that prior day as of right now, that NVIDIA catalyst as well pulling us in pretty nicely. Market taking a little bit of a bounce as well. TSM is continuing to push a little bit lower. So, oh boy, what's going on, Neil? I hear you laughing.
Remember Abbott Labs?
Yes.
It did it.
What did it do?
Abbott Labs just tanked 4 off the open here. Abbott Labs, obviously, they reported maybe not the most usually exciting name, but their guidance was really, really poor, and it broke the 200 period moving average just now and goes right into that supply right around that 122 I know you were talking about. Yeah. I wanted this short into 128, so that's not going to happen. But very quickly, everybody, VLCA, I believe that's right. It was VCLA? VLCN, that's what it is. Thank you very much. Thank you, Derek. Volcron. Halted to the downside, and the tap is 36.70. So 500 million private placement, and they're putting 95% into it, 95% into Bitcoin custody. So that's it's just another one of those stories, I suppose. Advanced Micro Devices, it lost to 160, but it's now double tapped 159.5. I really wanted to hold around this level, but I'm not seeing it. Like, I bought it in front of 60s because it was 60, and now that it's losing it, I don't see a reason to get back in yet, but I am eyeballing that pretty tightly as we're looking to catch a little bit of bounce. NVIDIA is already bouncing, which has me wanting to jump in if we can close. If we can close holding this low, I might jump into that. And by the way, Tesla, as I'm looking at AMD, Tesla right down to 22s. I'm looking for us to retest the 320 zone and then jump in at that particular point. CompuCare team has said make sure you look at Micron. Of course, Micron pop and then drop. I'm looking for 110 on that daily chart on Micron. Until it gets there, they're the only chip name that already had bad news. I know we just saw some for NVIDIA, and which obviously that means a lot. But Micron was the one that had their own bad news in there, and I'm waiting for 110 to be a buyer. AMD does hold. So there's the hold. Now you got a double bottom. This looks a little bit better. This looks a little bit better now for AMD. Let's see if we can get back into the volume-weighted average price. Maybe this rising tide will lift all ships, and it'll drag Micron with it. But as I said, Micron with that downgrade, I'd be very particular about where I'm trying to go along with that stock.
Yeah, no, finally kind of reclaiming that 160 here. It did kind of push towards VWAP, but like we said, 160.66 is that VWAP area as of right now. So yeah, a little bit of a chop here. Chips are pretty heavy off of the open, and that NVIDIA catalyst is not necessarily helping anything out. But yeah, a bit of a double bottom, 159.38 here on AMD. Almost said NVIDIA there on AMD. Market's trying to get a little bit of a bounce off of that, what is that, 23,080 level. And yeah, okay, so just a little bit of a chop. I'm questioning this bid on AMD. We could just kind of do a little bit of a dead cat right there, well within range to push back into day lows as well, as it just kind of chops around and does nothing too much here. Market tailwind, oh boy, we're kind of creeping back towards some of those lows there. The ES looking distinctly different than that of the Nasdaq once again, and we're seeing a little bit more and more of that. And again, of course, tech-heavy basket on the Nasdaq, and the SPY maybe a little bit more, I guess, diversified across a lot more sectors as well. But yeah, you still have those similar leaders in and around both of those futures as well. So let us know in the chat, what are you guys trading? I'm curious to know what you guys are trading as well. So I got out of that AMD. That bid's coming in real hot, but we'll let it kind of consolidate and figure out if the bid is going to come in to take us back towards some fresh highs as well. Where is the next trade? That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm looking for. Apparently, Lucid's not gone anywhere, Neil. $2.88 still holding on Lucid Motors. So nothing too crazy there. And oh boy, USB. We were talking about US Bank Corp and some of these banks here. That thing is a blasting to the upside here. So let's take a quick look at what is up with that one here. So USB, look at that grinding bid, kind of reverting the flush that we had off of the open there as well. So solid push on these banks, as again, XLF. Let's take a quick look at XLF. Strong bid on XLF as well. So a lot of this bank sector catching a bid distinctly different from some of the banks that we, bank earning reactions that we saw coming in on Monday, where everything kind of sold off. Yesterday, everything sold off, started to revert. And today, I guess the bid is caught on XLF as well. So I'm kind of watching a few of those bank stocks here as well. People, Peaceful Island saying KRE. Yeah, I'm sure KRE is also pushing as well.
Have a look at also, I almost said CoreWeave, but I meant Circle. Circle just now went right to 220. Oh, I was looking at Lucid maybe a little bit too much there. Circle went into 220 and just bounced heavy. And this is without, I'm not seeing anything strong, and like Bitcoin's not doing anything. I saw ETH. ETH is still relatively weak, but Circle catching a big bid off that 220 area that we liked. I like this entire range from 220 to 222. I don't mind stepping up because, like, look at the wall that kind of held that even dollars. I think you got something, what's the word? I always say the word constructive, but I kind of hate that, but it fits. Like, the market's making a bounce. This is going, let me just double check. I want to see what's happening over on ETH. I mean, it's just at the lows. AMD's trying to get back up. AMD breaks VWAP. I'm holding half for the highs, but it just cannot seem to get to the volume weighted average price. It broke 160 again and then just lost it again. So I trimmed a quarter. I might have to take some more out there. I might not pull the trigger on Circle chasing it if ETH is going to still be trending down. So I'm going to back off. Don't know why we have that much strength in Circle. Oh, boy. Because the ETH is going in the other direction. By the way, Lucid did catch that bid at 280. I don't know if you got into it, but it looks like that 280 is holding very, very well. I might jump back over into Lucid. Maybe should have been more aggressive.
Oh my God. Here we go. Dude, sellers on AMD are absolutely aggressive. So when it false broke that 160, I was like, all right, I definitely want a piece of this here. Didn't really quite catch it on the 160 push, but we are kind of chopping around and churning. Like I said, a little bit of a dead cat bounce. Let's see if we can get through that day low. I already punched out earlier because I was like, oh boy, this is not looking too good. We ripped back to 160s. I get a little bit of FOMO, but I'm like, hold on. Wait for those guys to step right back in. We are still trading below that VWAP as well. Look at that market rip on the ES. Did we get a call? Okay. NVIDIA is pushing back up. Nice, beautiful reversion there on NVIDIA coming in. Day low on AMD here is at 159.38. We're currently trading at 159.40. So that's where the bid has been coming in. Let's see if more of it can kind of come in right here. There it goes, breaking down 159. Hey, yo, hello, can you please take me on the bid and take me out? Because I like to take profits a little bit early today because I am not really trusting this move because the market is ripping to the upside. AMD slamming down, maybe doing a bit of a reversion back into some of yesterday's levels. Maybe balancing out as well. We talk about finding potential mispricing, and I think that AMD might be exhibiting a little bit of that as of right now. But you can see that bid. When it does come in, it comes in with a little bit of aggression there as well. So where did we wick off of? Nasdaq lows, yeah, about a 50% retracement on that one there. So, oh boy, Neil, that's what I'm saying here.
Yeah, oh boy, for sure. Like that was a heavy, heavy retracement. The second I saw you were going in two different directions. Once we reclaimed that, it was about 95 or 59.75 or so for that quarter. I just jumped out because like NVIDIA to be going up the way that it is and AMD to have been losing that bid just did not make any sense to me. And I said, sometimes you got to shift. Like one thing is stronger than the other. Circle's still trying to hold on to that 220, but with ETH pushing down, I wanted to see it test a little bit tighter to the bottom. That's what I'm looking at. I know a lot of people want to talk about Bitcoin, but you let me know when that starts moving more than ETH. Like this is the reason I didn't jump into Circle. ETH just absolutely busted that support and is headed much, much lower. Maybe it is going to get down to this 25.3 level for a bit of a dip buy opportunity. But until this stabilizes, I don't want to be long in that Circle trade unless I see some stabilization come into this particular name. Let's see if we can't go back up to the desk. We've got Adara, and by the way, Tesla 320.
Archer Aviation on watch here, ACHR. This one, apparently the CEO of the company posting on X that the company is going to be accelerating the development of their cost-down approaches for their current Midnight Compasses. Compasses that allow them to, I guess, more rapidly develop their new aircraft variants. So, yeah, keep in mind here at this post coming from the CEO of the company, it just seems like they're providing more color on a previous announcement that they made during their Q1 earnings call. So yeah, nothing brand new, but certainly this excitement here in this post from the CEO pumping up the stock. I do want to mention as well, we do have some economic data at 10 a.m. for the first time in a while. We'll be getting the NAHB Housing Market Index, as well as the Fed's Kugler is supposed to be speaking. I believe that might have already started. We're going to get business inventories as well. So a couple numbers to be aware of coming through at 10 a.m. Eastern. Back to you.
Wow, what a bounce.
Right here. Thank you very much. Yeah, what a bounce indeed. On Tesla, nice scalp there, Neil. I'm seeing that.
So here's the thing, though. Okay, so well, I said I wanted long in front of 320 in Tesla. I really didn't want to make it complicated. AMD stunk for me, obviously, but at least Tesla makes it right back because it bounced. And sometimes you get really, really fortunate in that you pick a level. It did the exact move that you like to see. Broke 320 by a matter of pennies, and then came right back through. I got a terrible fill long. Like you could be long at 320 and like 25 cents or something. You can see I wasn't even long till like 50s. Took some out at the first prior bar, and then took some out in the meat of this in front of VWAP at 322. If we're trending down and I'm taking a mean reversion trade, I play it into the volume weighted average price. That's just the plan of action on Tesla. But that's why we look at certain price levels. Sometimes they hold, sometimes they don't. That said, Obi, 280 on Lucid was the jam. You're now back through the volume weighted average price as that continues to run higher. If you're just tuning in now, Lucid partnership with Uber on autonomous. They also are going to be voting sometime in the future on a reverse split, doing tons of relative volume. And we also have a super chat in here. Oh, speaking of which, Trader Gibby on X made $1,300 on Lucid, trading the 250 call expires tomorrow from 160 to 1490 overnight. Congratulations. I got a key for that. Congratulations. I never have to waste any of my vocal cords saying or yelling congratulations because we have fantastic key for that. Great look and appreciate the super chat. Good luck with the rest of your trading for the rest of the day because the day is not over. I'm going to look for the next opportunity here in Tesla. Maybe it's another rinse into the same low, or we could always do a little V-shape, break it out over 322, hold a VWAP, and then I join the trend on the volume-weighted average price.
All right, guys, so Beta Pro by Global X. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily leveraged ETFs. Featuring built-in FX hedging, this aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Oh boy, that 160 came right back in. So glad I kind of covered most of that into the flush right there. Like I said, I didn't really trust the selling just yet, but we were a little bit below VWAP, and we false broke that 160 in quite an aggressive manner. So I was like, all right, let me just take a quick scalp off of that one. Back in towards a VWAP right here. We talked about that VWAP being in and around 160.40s. The current local high right there is sitting at 160.37. This candle high right here. So I know it's a little difficult to see with some of the wick action going on here on my charts, but like I said, some of these charts can get wicky, but I'm always looking at multiple time frames as well. We're still kind of chopping and churning around that 160. Let's take a look at what was here yesterday to give us a little bit more direction. It seems like it might be starting to get going already, but AMD, oh boy, some of these chips might start to get going because the ES is pushing fresh highs on the day as of right now. The Nasdaq not quite there just yet, but you can see this 160, oh boy, that's a pre-market level as well. 160.44 is confluencing with that VWAP as of right now, so that's I like that. And then also you can see yesterday's highs at that 160.33. That's what we kind of talked about. So unless and until we can kind of get back above these levels, I'm seeing a lot of confluence as this level being, you know, a little bit of I wouldn't really call it resistance, but maybe we did pull back off of it and then turning into support around 160 halves, coming in off of the open, holding as of right now as a bit of a resistance. You can see the nice little chop that we're getting all the way back down. Chop, 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 chop. So yeah, scalper's dream, range trader's dream if you're kind of down here, but maybe you're also accumulating because there's a lot of bottom wicks happening on that 159. That's also what I'm seeing. Let's see if we can make any sort of a solid structure break off of here. Yeah, sugar futures probably not going to move on my time frame when I'm trading here. Yes.
Sugar cookie.
Sugar cookies.
I'm contractually obligated. Unity. Y'all know Unity's up 11% because everyone's been yelling about it in the chat. So Unity is good. By the way, UNH lost 290.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Unity looking super strong. Continuation play.
Oh my
like,
God.
Why did I not like this one today? Don't have a good reason for it. We played it long yesterday. We didn't play it long today, and it's just a clean breakout. And when you look at the higher time frame on this, you got to go to a much higher time frame to get a really good perspective about Unity. There you go. On a monthly chart, what do you guys see? I see potential room to 40 bucks here, 40 to 41, at least on terms of the monthly. On this kind of a time frame, maybe that doesn't help the day trade, but it just means when you have this overhead on the daily, you got nothing. There's a lot of room here. It put 4 or 5 bucks in yesterday. I don't see why it can't do something similar. It's distinctly different in that it was giving you all kinds of time to get in the morning yesterday. It's not doing that at all. So I'd look for some kind of a sharp pullback and then try to play off that. So super strong move, and UNH broke the 290 level. UNH is okay, that's not the word I wanted. UNH is in trouble. If we're going to use that's the way I should be saying this. UNH is in trouble here because everyone that bought this dip down in the 280 range for it to do absolutely nothing, and now it's losing the support that it made. This is a continuation short. And if this pops back into 290, I have to have it. But I'm looking at this. Obviously, I'm still trying to pick up Circle and eyeballing Tesla as well. But UNH should be on. If you're looking for a short today, UNH seems like it should be on your radar. We're going to go to Dare in a quick second, but notably, Tesla just failed VWAP. So I'm still playing it by ear here. I'm either going long because it's holding above VWAP and breaking further, or I'm waiting for that low at 320 to come in again. Don't want to give up the profits. Like the market's breaking the top and Tesla's under VWAP. Maybe it's not what I think it is, but NVIDIA certainly seems like it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just keep an eye here on META. Wall Street Journal reporting that Meta directors and shareholders are settling their privacy suit before board members testify at the trial. Again, this is just a report from Wall Street Journal yet to be confirmed. But it sounds like this privacy trial could actually end here as apparently these board members and shareholders are settling this suit. Again, just a reminder, in about 7 minutes, we will get some economic data, NAHB Housing Market Index and business inventories month over month. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying all the content. Back to you.
All right, guys. So I got something to show off to you guys here, and Fabian has made. I guess it's kind of like this. It's kind of like that the rundown counter there as well. I don't know what term we're using for it, but yeah, throw it up in the chat. $, and then the stock that you want to get mentioned right here. So far, we've got AMD, Unity, Open is leading the way here, Lucid up here as well, and then Archer as well. 14 mentions, 23 on Lucid, 27 on Open, 26 on Unity, and only 15 on AMD. Come on, guys. Let's see what we got. Let's see what the winners are going to be. You can see them kind of coming in right here as well. So you know what? I'm gonna do a fresh start. So keep on doing it. Let's see if we can kind of see what the new ones are. So we got Riot, Wint. They're starting to come in right here. All right, Riot in first place. SoFi, NVIDIA, Amazon. What's the next chart that we're going to be looking at, guys? I'm going to let this run for the next couple of minutes, and then we're going to come back to it, and then the top stocks, the top 3 winners, we can take a look at some of those as well. So make sure you throw it up in the chat, and if you can't type in the chat, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button as well, because again, the team out here is putting in some good work. I'm just here, I'm just here filling in.
That works, Fabian.
Oh boy, what a reversion happening right here on TSM and a lot of these chips. I said earlier, ES was breaking out of its highs, and Nasdaq is kind of lagging behind, but oh boy, Nasdaq catching right up here, and we're seeing more and more of this happen where one of the futures kind of lags behind, the next one kind of pulls up a little bit later as well. So is that a little bit of a trade, Neil? I don't know. I think kind of reminds me of like sympathy moves, but I think there's a lot more going on there than meets the eye for sure. NVIDIA taking a little bit of a pullback. Is this now the reversion of the reversion? I don't know. We'll have to find out.
The reversion of the reversion. I always love it when you say that. But if it does revert, I think when you buy up on negative news or a negative headline, that you want to think about the long. So if it does revert that move, whether it's VWAP or right in here, 172.5, where you had all kinds of, like that's where it rolled over in the pre-market. That makes a lot of sense to me. I just feel like you want to be looking for the long. I've said it before, it's just the amount of times that you look at NVIDIA and the AMD goes, or you look at AMD and NVIDIA goes, it's hilarious. Maybe sometimes when you're looking for the dip buy, it's just put half into one and half into the other. Because sometimes you pick, and it's like, you pick AMD, and NVIDIA does this because AMD was stronger yesterday. It could just be that's the case, and then we're shifting, but NVIDIA proves why it's the best. Tesla's still not holding above that volume-weighted average price. I'm not sure I'm going to get back into that one. It's just such a huge recovery. I can't really be thinking short when I think you got a lot of people offside. Anytime you rinse the pre-market lows like that for a V-shape right off the open, I'm always thinking long continuation, pretty much across the board. I doubt we even get the volume-weighted average price here. I'm just hoping that we can dip and maybe get some people out here, and then we can get in around at least the 72.5. But that might not even cooperate, and it could just be breakout city on NVIDIA.
Oh yeah,
I might
that's
just
what it's
nibble.
Looking like, man.
I might just nibble at the 133 and give it to the prior bar low because I want to be involved in this name. Tesla's not really doing anything. I do need to show you guys Circle. Well, I don't have to, but I'm going to show you guys Circle. Whoops, I just did not even type in Circle. It's now gone, so it doesn't even give you a chance off of the volume-weighted average price. It's just going. ETH did make that recovery, so it's bouncing after a bit of a drop. Circle feels like a continuation squeeze as well. But this one I'm not punching through the highs. It's a little early for the breakout trade. If you looked at the structure yesterday, you had some dips back into VWAP a couple times, and then it didn't go ham until the middle of the session when we got a catalyst. So I want to play pullbacks on Circle because that's what worked in spades in yesterday's trade.
Yeah, so okay, I got this. I'm going to show this once again, and we're going to come back to this in 2 minutes. Currently, it seems like the clear winner right now is AMD, coming in second with Open, really? And then Lucid, BBAI, and then Unity. So let's take a look at this once again at 10 o'clock, so in a couple of minutes. But yeah, Neil, I was looking for that reversion to come in potentially here on NVIDIA. I'm going to keep eyes on it as well. AMD got eyes on, finally kind of reclaiming above that VWAP, holding 60 with with a little bit of distinction, but not really kind of past its opening, kind of this kind of structure high VWAP kind of. I'm saying kind of a lot. 160.75s.
Are you though?
Am I though? I don't know. Kinda. 173.44s is the day high, guys. And oh boy, we're chopping and churning and around here. What is that I see down there?
You're saying
bro. NVIDIA needs to chill, bro.
He's not even there.
He's not. No, he's not here. So this anchored VWAP, where are you coming from? I don't know. I don't know where this is coming from. I think this is from a couple days ago. Yeah, that gap up. Oh boy. So that gap up comes in. This is why I got to watch my anchors a little bit closer. Shout out to Brian Shannon again for kind of making that indicator a little bit more known to the general public there, and yeah, working out pretty well when it does. I think it does. There's a lot. I mean, I've been using it for the past year and a half, but it should be interesting. It is interesting the way it kind of comes in as well. We got numbers with Adara. We'll be right back. Don't forget.
We're going to get NAHB Housing Market Index and Business Inventories data, both of these exactly in line with estimates. So not a huge deal here. NAHB Housing Market Index 33 versus 33 expected, and the previous number of 32. Business Inventories month over month, 0% versus the forecast of 0% and the prior print of 0%. Here's the Nasdaq, really rangy here, basically getting to pre-market lows and then bouncing right back up. We had better than expected retail sales data and initial jobless claims data. So good look across the board here for this market. Let's see if we can break out of this double top and into that 559 halves level, then into 560s. Be wary, I just saw a note here on ENOV. Apparently, Muddy Waters retweeting a short report on this name, pushing to the downside. CRCL certainly not pushing to the downside. We know all of these stablecoin and crypto-related plays are on watch as we do wait for the House to continue voting on these crypto week-related bills. Let's see how these progresses. If I have any updates on those, of course, I will let you know. Then we've got Pepsi, one of many earnings names today. This one actually, one of the stronger names. We have Abbott Labs as well, ABT, GE, UAL, USB, and TSM, among others. But before we send you over to the guys, we have to thank our friends at Top One Futures. Are you looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, SPY, or even Bitcoin? Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there, and they give traders the chance to manage up to $1 million in capital. Pick your path, instant funded, challenge, or pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. In the last 90 days alone, they've paid out over $10 million and earned over 1,000 five-star reviews from real traders. Use a discount code TTV to save on any account. Scan the QR code or head to toponefutures.com and start trading towards your next payout. Back to you.
What's hilarious is, by the way, when you were talking about Pepsi there, Adara, I already forget what their slogan is. That's how bad the slogan is, okay? That's what I like. It's a Bruno Mars song. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's like, that's what I,
whatever.
That's what I like.
One of the Blue Jays for years had that as his walk-up music. That's why it's in my head. All right, NVIDIA broke away from the 173 level, so into the prior high, close above 173.5. Well, I mean, this is like 44, but let's just do 5 anyways. If it can close this bar above, I'm going to look for another place to add that isn't 173, but I think you're dip buying into this level. Well, I think you are. I am. I should always speak in that form. But it could just be doing a bit of a, they just sold it again through this 173.50 level. All right, you know what that means. Topping tail candle. Got to respect it. Give me mid-30s, give me mid-30s, give me mid-30s, give me mid-30s. Not going to give it to me. I'll just take the 30 instead. I got to respect when you're chasing this kind of a parabolic move with really, really tight stops, that I'm going to play inside of the range and look for the next opportunity. I don't like those topping tail candles in there, unfortunately. So it's more of a scalp trade up here, and then I'll wait for the volume weighted average price like the previous plan was going to be on NVIDIA. But they bought it up after a negative open. I still want to be initially looking to the long side. Circle just blasted through 230. It doesn't seem like it wants to give you VWAP here. It's got a very nice, distinct trend to the upside going. And it's doing this without the benefit of a huge move up. Like ETH recovered and is only now getting to VWAP. Just reminding everybody, my plan for ETH was if it starts respecting the volume-weighted average price, just go. So it hasn't done it yet, but once it's holding VWAP, it couldn't stop yesterday. But very, very simply, once we start holding VWAP, I'm going to be long on ETH.
Oh boy, Neil. While you were talking, it's funny that you said topping tail because I was staring down the.
Oh, you're short.
Yeah, I was staring it down, and I punched short, and you literally say, "Oh, topping tail," like 5 seconds later. I'm like, "Oh boy,
get out of here!" That's awesome.
Yeah. But this is 2 days in a row. We kind of like pass the baton like that.
We did that on Palantir yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm like, I mean, these are stocks in play. It's pushing all-time highs. I love the counter. We're gonna check this. Check the. We gotta come up with a name with this race here, but AMD definitely won. We'll be right back checking out these stocks that you guys voted on, but let's see what's up with the news with Ladera.
Yeah, META here at day's lows. I mentioned earlier, apparently that Wall Street Journal is reporting there was a bit of a settlement with this investor lawsuit. I'm seeing again, apparently the investors involved in this suit reported to the judge that the lawsuit has been resolved with company officials. That was the 5th day of the Delaware trial. It is worth noting the settlement details are not immediately known. So it seems like another report here suggesting that, in fact, there is a bit of a settlement here in this Delaware lawsuit. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content as we send you back over to NVIDIA.
173 is coming in, so consolidation lows. I've covered a lot of it, like because I know I'm counter trending right here. So let's go back to the chart a little bit here. That's where's the chart at? All right, so you can see, wow, nice little wiki mess here. Oh boy, there comes some selling back through that 73 here as of right now. Let's see if it'll come in and take me 73 hold. Let's see, that's that consolidation low if you're looking at it on a shorter time frame, like a 1 minute, but I'm looking at it a 3 minute, so because I want to kind of shake out some of that noise on the stock as well. So going back to what you guys wanted to look at, let's take a quick gander at that one here. Where is that list? All right, so AMD is the winner with 59 mentions. Big Bear AI, okay, so that did catch up. And then we got Open, Lucid, and Unity. So let's go over these 3 names, Neil. AMD, BBAI, and Open. AMD already took a couple of shots on that one. That's pulling in with the rest of the chips as of right now. We talk about that 160 half area potentially being a little bit of a level, both support and a resistance that we've seen from yesterday and today. And it's kind of holding the chopping around that VWAP. So I don't know if it's ready just yet, but that NVIDIA pullback is definitely helping us as well on that one. So AMD, we can do a little bit more of a deeper kind of look at it because you guys did pick it as one of the top ones as through your votes. So look at this. This is what I'm talking about. Strong grind up yesterday. This was absolutely beautiful. Look at how that grind comes up when we finally break all of this chop. A little bit of a downtrend, lower highs and lower lows coming in. Sure, you can use, you can use that high, you can use that high, you can have that. It doesn't matter. Just get the general gist of lower highs and higher highs, and you can see when that finally kind of starts to break, you can see that price start to catch a little bit of a push with expanding volume into the close, and we're holding those levels as of right now, which is a little significant to me. So here's the thing I'm looking at, Neil, because we're observing this kind of price action. Oh boy, I should have held a lot more of NVIDIA. That is definitely my fault here, but you know what? It is what it is. Where's the next trade? But what I'm saying for this kind of action, we've been seeing that leg consolidation leg. So maybe today is just a consolidation day where we're kind of gonna chop around this key area around 160s, and tomorrow at the end of the week, we might have a strong close. Let's see what the weekly is looking at on AMD before I pass it to Neil to take a look at some of those other stocks that you guys also voted on. I think it was BBAI and Open as well. So you can see beautiful push on AMD. Break of this higher time frame downtrend on the weekly chart as well, maybe holding some prior levels as well on as a support. But bigger picture, even though that trend is expanding, we're starting to see higher highs and higher lows as well. So can we get back up to these 227.30 all-time highs on AMD? I don't know, but if this bid and this trend continues to push, I think that we are well within range of doing all of that. Wow, I think I covered everything on video. That's okay. Where's the next trade? And don't forget, guys, Studio 8.
Ooh.
That's coming in as well. So if you guys know, we've been doing some renovations, and this is the 8th iteration.
You can't tell.
Of the studio. Yeah, it's not like we got screens in the back being like, okay, you know, part of the construction. Pardon the construction over there, but yeah, no, you can see the floor in the back is gone as well. That beautiful wall is all colored now, and there's some interesting stuff that's going to be happening here. So hopefully you guys are still sticking around for some of that. The whole show is changing the game.
Everything's getting bigger and better. There's a lot. Like, it's not just the look that's going to change. We're going to the feel of the show is just going to improve. I think our ability to deliver and discuss more stories and more stocks real time is going to change. You're going to see all that happen when we get this done. But you guys also wanted BBAI, and BBAI is on a tear. This is a recovery bounce for BBAI. It didn't quite get to $5 on that pullback. It ends up bouncing off 6. So, I mean, game on. If you're Canadian, you know, when someone drives a car down the street and you're playing street hockey, pull the nets off the street and then game back on. So you pull the nets off the street as it pulls back a couple bucks. The game's back on here in BBAI. Now the $8 level needs to bust through. That's where it halted the last move, by rejecting 8 on a daily. So yeah, you want to close above $8, but there's the way that it did that rejection was so incredibly clean. Like, resistance, failed breakout, resistance. So in a short term, if you can break 810, you might have a bit of a scalp trade into that high. Let me just go back over. I want to make sure we mention that one to you. Tesla resumed the trend. Like, you could play this a million ways. Obviously, you could have held the long. It was so close to coming back in to the 320. Like, that's a real wick when it broke 321, but just not quite enough on the low to get me long. Then it broke out. Missed the breakout here. I can cancel that order. Missed the breakout. Tried to get the dip into the prior high at 322.5. Ended up just taking the 323 through, and I won it to the high of the day as it just spiked into the high. Ooh, whoa. First, speak later. So when I said whoa just there, that was a 24 break that was met with like instant high of the day sellers. When I say the high, I mean the high in the pre-market. So again, station to station on Tesla, did miss the better fills down at the 22 and had to take the 23. But you can tell over this 320, there's a lot of buyers. I think a 325 break comes into play for us as well as an opportunity to go long again. I'm going to go to a 30-minute just so you can see a little bit more of this price action here. I like the 15, but I want to show you guys a 30. There we go. Because if we do break out this 325, that's right in here. I think you got 25 to, now it just zooms out more. You got 25 to the 28 to 30 range as the next stair step up. So either we're dipping back in to VWAP or breaking out that 325. I'm only looking long on Tesla now that selling at 320 is done with the last couple of sessions, and I'm playing it station to station. I'm jumping in and jumping out as quickly as I can for those scalp trades. So far, so good here on TSLA.
Yes, sir. Talking about scalp trades, Neil, we got another push down on that AMD below that VWAP, and I was like, oh boy, I want to take a piece off of that one right there. But coming back into those consolidation lows, like I said, might be poised to make some higher highs as well. So yeah, all it was a scalp. I kind of want to just leave it at that. Market taking a little bit of a wick down as well, so got to be wary of that one. And you know what? If we're going to get back through 160 like that, I'm going to be patient. Wait for the next trade. Where is the next trade? Oh boy, NVIDIA is pushing right back up again as well past that 173. And oh boy, I hope you guys are having fun, because I definitely am. This market is absolutely wild. And Circle, is that a breaking trend? No, I said I wasn't going to do it, Neil. I said I wasn't going to do it. It looks so tempting.
You're not shorting Circle? I'll tell you right now, no trend breaks worked on this thing until very, very late in the day.
I know. That was yesterday, but guess what? Everybody's probably thinking that as well. They're like, okay, you know, I don't want to necessarily, I don't know, because the thing is, like, I like the chop. I like the kind of healthy price action. If something's grinding up, I'm just like, all right, well, it's clearly imbalanced to the buy side here. But let's go take a quick look at Circle, and you can see, yeah, not really a trend break. You're right. It's not really pushing with any sort of significance in terms of selling as well. Pre-market highs coming in at 234s, and I did say, Neil, I said I wanted to get long on Circle, and I don't really want to look for the short unless and until we somehow get back below this 215. 215 halves, or we get some sort of strong push into the highs, maybe some capitulatory action as well.
The Coinbase Super App apparently is something that people are very interested in, because Coinbase wants to be WeChat, whatever that is, the one in China. That's what they want to do, and the market likes it. You had to sit out a bit of a rinse, but now it's gone, like Tony G sometimes says when someone gets knocked out at the poker table. He's a character. This is really running. Oh, why can't Circle do this? Breaking through 235. That would be fantastic. But Coinbase up 4 points and going absolutely nuts at 400 level. It's come, it's gone.
Oh my God.
If you see me looking up every now and then, I'm just keeping that eye on Tesla to look for my next entry in that, and then Circle and NVIDIA as well. But this is 420 seems like an almost guarantee here. And as that's happening, maybe there's like a sympathy break going to happen on Circle as Coinbase goes. And by the way, for Coinbase, it's kind of a blue sky setup. It's not like there are levels up there. Some people like to use like fibs and I don't know, all kinds of other indicators when you have a stock which is going that strongly. But it is actually Coinbase that is the strongest. It's not even a Bitcoin story. The Bitcoin's at 118.5. Whoops, that's Blue Ocean, which is always first on the drop down. Shout out to Blue Ocean, the overnight markets. Special things happened yesterday to my favorite Blue Ocean trader. I'll get to that a little bit later on in the session. Bitcoin is now starting to consolidate and go, but we're only at 118.3. ETH is having a solid move, but it's just respecting VWAP. Oh, I like that. I'm going to get into a little bit of ETH here before Circle. Usually I pick one or the other, but you're holding VWAP pretty cleanly. And so if I can get this right at the volume weighted average price for a tight stop, I'm going to go ahead and do that on ETH, which that was weird. It was at 87. I put a bid at 84 and insta-filled. Generally speaking, you really don't want that.
You don't want the insta-fill.
You know,
but when something's that liquid, I think it's,
if you're bidding underneath, because it's a 1 cent spread. Here, let me just explain that for a quick little second. So if it's a 1 cent spread and looks like this, and you bid, it'd be the equivalent of bidding 82s right now, and the second you put the order in, it fills you at 82 when it's up here. That's just what happened. Anyways, I'm long at 84. I'm gonna get out if this breaks 80, because I'm not sure I love the way that filled. I'm gonna take that Circle break if it happens. Tesla, still not sure what the next entry is gonna be because it can't get to VWAP, but let's find out what's going on up at the desk with Adara.
Here is the Nasdaq on watch here as Donald Trump posted Truth Social, seemingly addressed to Jerome Powell. It says, quotations, too late, great numbers just out, lower the rate, 3 exclamation points, all caps, DJT. So yeah, Donald Trump once again calling here on Fed Chair Jerome Powell to lower the rate. Worth noting this pressure going to continue. This is the first story we've heard about this today, so we're going to have to wait and see. But if you recall, yesterday was pretty big in terms of tensions here with Trump and Powell. Back to you.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, AMD kind of back down to its consolidation low. So yeah, we'll be taking those scalps underneath that VWAP over and over again until it stops working. I like that. But oh boy, there are some stocks in this market, Neil, which are pushing aggressively to the upside. And now I kind of went through some of the volume leaders here and ones that stood out right away. Big Bear AI coming in at $8.14. Now I think if I remember correctly, this was also this was the second most mentioned name on the list there. So yeah, oh boy, indeed, as it holds quite well and breaking past some of these prior levels here. We know that we went up to a high of $8.72 just last Tuesday, and that's coming in as of right now as well. Only about I guess still a while away. How far is that? That's about okay. That's 7.5% away. I don't know if we're going to see that on the day today, but well within range of what it can do going into the end of the week. Strong grinding trend on Big Bear AI. Coin as well, looking kind of similar here. And oh boy, Neil, is this something I gotta get involved with? Obviously, it's not showing me anything right now, but when and if it does, I will definitely like to get involved. I don't have an EMA on this one just right now, but it is very clearly holding multiple indicators of trend on Coinbase. Aggressive push to the upside, expanding volume as well. It's not nothing capitulatory just yet.
It's not just coin, right? Because you've got some other names that are going Robinhood, up 3% and churning higher. It just seems like you're getting a big buy program. We already mentioned Circle, but that's more directly stable coin. Coin and Hood probably a little bit more connected. So all-time highs for Robinhood and just continuing to press. Obviously, Coinbase making a very, very similar move. It's really interesting that, you know, we saw a little bit of this yesterday too. Like, it's not like I'm in ETH because it's holding VWAP, and that's what I liked yesterday. But you're not actually seeing Bitcoin or ETH do a heck of a lot. Bounce off the lows, but the program buy is in some other names. I mean, Circle's not even doing as well as these. What I would be concerned about, though, is if coin is leading the group and it pulls back like this, that's exactly where you could find the curl. Like, one leading the market, and that's another reason why I had a tight stop on ETH. Like, I don't mind playing this where, you know, first profit take is 1-to-1 to scalp inside of the range, but when the low is 2% down from where you're trading it, very, very tight stop. I don't mind taking a tight stop out on something which could flush on me, especially when I see coin flying the way it is, Hood flying the way it is. Like, I want to join the continuation play, but I can get into that trade anytime I want to at VWAP. I got to eyeball what's happening in coin. And speaking of what's happening in other places, yo, that seller at the selling that was immediately visible above 324, yeah, let's just say on Tesla, that really won. I thought there'd be some play here at VWAP. Forget about it. This is why I'm going one and done. I feel like this market recently is just so much better when you just take the get in, get out, wait for the next thing to set up, get in, get out, wait for the next thing to set up, because we're getting so much whipsaw action and reversion from the top to the bottom. And I don't want to be flipping around like long to short and all that nonsense, but certainly taking your profits while you can. I mean, look at Tesla. We were just cruising to a potential breakout, and now we're like a couple of bucks lower and through VWAP. So patience seems like the name of the game. Let's go to Adara. Sure.
Here's the IWM, just pulling back pretty aggressively, but this had a great push off the open. Now, of course, the IWM is considered more, or I guess small caps in general are considered more rate sensitive, so they are always in watch when we get economic numbers. And as mentioned a couple times now, we did get better than expected retail sales data this morning. Now, in terms of the 10 a.m. numbers, as mentioned, they were both literally exactly in line with expectations. That was less significant. But either way, it is worth noting always with these small caps and the IWM, think about if there was any economic data potentially that could be of note. Here's Paladin, PDYN, Paladin AI. This name is pretty closely watched by retail traders as far as I'm aware. It is worth noting, apparently this morning they were circulating rumors that a popular newsletter bought the stock. It's all very vague and I couldn't find anything to support that. But either way, PDYN to the upside. MRKR actually just pulled back a little bit, unfortunately, but Marker Therapeutics was on watch. Pretty decent float, I believe about a 7.8 million share float, $23 million market cap. Couldn't find much on them, but they have run in the past. Also, another name that's run in the past year, Luminar Technologies, LAZR. This is a LiDAR related play, 22% short float, and certainly a sector that's been on watch as of late. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Back to the guys.
Yeah, you're right.
So, wow. I mean, that pullback on coin from that high. I guess if you were looking at 415 instead of 420, congratulations. But Unity just keeps going and going and going. It is like the Energizer Bunny and looks absolutely fantastic. 13%, it's squeezing. That's the best way to think about it. What's going on in the overall market, you know, when something's bullish, you love to see when the market pulls back into VWAP, that little buy-off VWAP breaks a stock out. So it just doesn't even care at this particular point. So, you know, if we get into any kind of a real big down push in the market, I think this is a place that you want to be able to go to over in Unity. I'm still going to have eyes on Tesla, obviously, but I wanted to go over to, as Coinbase was breaking down, Circle's just consolidating in here. And I was amped to sort of take this break of a high, which is just above. I'm crossed pretty far there. Yeah, I just realized how aggressive my order was. You you don't have, the Circle has a big spread, but you don't have to cross it by $1 or anything like that. Like, that's a little bit too aggressive. I'm just going to move my order to a little bit better across. I don't need to be super, super aggressive crossing up $1. If we break this consolidation up, I'm going to go long into the high on Circle. Just a quick in and out. I want that scalp trade if we can get it. That quick in and out trade is going to be the name of the game for me. One name that we have not talked about, we've tried to cover almost everything that is moving. You know, a lot of people put this one in the chat. NEO on the warpath, up 7% today. NEO, other than being EV names, it has nothing in common with Lucid, except for the fact that it had a very obvious consolidated bottom that's broken away from. The other thing it's done is broken away from 420. So I think this one's got some legs here. This was the chop zone that I would have expected you'd have chop from 20 into 440, and that's just not happening. It's really just continuing to churn through that like nothing's a problem. That said, it's not on my radar to trade. If I go back to an EV name, it's going to be Tesla or potentially Lucid. I just want those to settle down, especially Tesla. I think we got sometimes it's fortunate. You're staring down the tape at the right time and you happen to see something and it ends up being important. But let's go back over to my man, Obi.
Yes, sir, guys. So Trade the Pool. With Trade the Pool's swing trading programs, you can get access to up to $40,000 in buying power to trade real shares, not CFDs. You can hold positions overnight, over the weekend, and enjoy limited risk thanks to a one-time evaluation fee. No monthly payments, no hidden costs. Take Vincent, for example, one of Trade the Pool's swing traders. He's already locked in $23,000 in profits. His top performer, NMAX. He shorted it from April 20th to May 30th and pulled in a $6,777 gain. Trade the Pool is giving swing traders the tools, the time, and the capital to thrive. Scan the QR code and enjoy 10% off. Oh boy, that NVIDIA reversion to VWAP is coming in a little bit nicely, but kind of strong chop here as the market settles down after its morning shake and bake. We'll be right back. Let's see what it is up to.
Right now, here we're going to take a look at PM and MO. These are both names in that like tobacco cigarette space. Wall Street Journal reporting that the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, has approved dual electronic cigarettes for sale. So that could be a bit of a rough look if these e-cigarettes are being approved for sale for some of these traditional tobacco companies. MO and PM, so Altria and Philip Morris, both pushing lower on this. For the record, Philip Morris actually reporting earnings next week as well. Back to you.
Yeah.
Philip Morris, a name that not everyone loves to invest in, but you know, to each their own. That's certainly part of the game. UNH, again, we talked about how this one was a miss through the 290 level, but you've always got to just move on to the next trade. United Health has done absolutely nothing since cratering back in May and doing what it was a good bounce if you got the absolute little circle just broke. Let me get my stop order in and then I can finish my thoughts here. The circle just broke you know what? I'll come back to UNH in a second. I'm short UNH off the volume weighted average price, as you can see there. My stop is going to be up at the top, obviously, and if it breaks 288, I'll just jump out of the trade on UNH. But Circle just broke out that high. First stop is the first block. Remember, I'm just playing it into this high. Like if we get to 240, I am gonzo. So I want something above the 36 if we can even get that. And then I'm definitely getting out into 240. Like it's just a clean breakout trade. I don't even want to give it that much room because the buy support is at 230. So I feel like I can take the break, get out quickly if it doesn't work, and then jump back in at about 230. That's the plan of action on Circle. Now I can we'll take a breath, go back over to UNH. UNH, a continuation play to the south side after it broke 290. Showed you guys the weakness on that daily chart. If we break VWAP, simple. I'm out if we break the volume weighted average price on UNH. I do like this one south side, but I also will, no matter what happens on UNH, this was a miss because we should have had that 290 break. It was such an obvious one, Obi. I know a lot of traders that were looking at that specific entry. I'm trying to get some out here. What I like to call, it's not first support, but it kind of is. And then play it back into 85. That's too much of a bottoming tail candle to give it too much room lower.
Yeah, Neil, I'm looking at this 173 here on NVIDIA. I kind of flipped the push there. I was in the short, and then it holds that VWAP pretty well. It starts to push. I'm like, all right, maybe we're poised to test the high of the range now. A little late on the entry for sure, but let's see if we can push that 73 with any sort of distinction. We're getting that market tailwind as well with that wick up on this 15-minute candle, as you can see here on the Nasdaq. Let's see if NVIDIA can follow through. Range high coming in at 73.09. So again, not really too excited about this one because I mean, I like my counter trades, but if it's going to show me that we might be holding for a little bit, I have no issues, flipping the script and kind of, just going the other way and maybe reverting the reversion that I was trying to revert earlier. So, reverse-ception. Yes, there you go. Thank you, Dara. So 192. 192. Yes, no.
You're not going to take. I'm pretty sure I coined reverse-ception there, but yeah, reversion of the reversion of the reversion of the.
I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
What was that word?
Reverse-ception. I'm so bad at this.
If you can't even say it, anyways.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, you didn't make it up if you can't say it. Get it, Adara. Get it, Adara.
Still holding this consolidation. I mean, look, that Nasdaq candle just went green to red. How much time is left for this 50-minute candle to print? 12 seconds.
Red to green, you mean?
Sorry, red to green. Yeah, red to green. And 12 seconds left to print. So yeah, a little bit of a push down and then a rip right back up. Absolutely beautiful. So it seems like we're going to be continuing to print some green candles on the day today. But I'm being patient with this NVIDIA push. And perhaps, again, this consolidation, if it's going to take too long, I'm more than willing to get out and then look for the next trade. Can we hold this 173s? I got no idea, but this market's coming in quite well, Neil, holding some of those lows from earlier.
And sort of as I was talking about there with that circle, it was going to be a scalp breakout trade. If it immediately loses the break level, then I'm just going to jump out of it and wait for the next opportunity, whether it's I mean, even in the afternoon, you had 230 in here. Whoops. So we're either waiting for 230 or maybe the volume-weighted average price. As I said, everything's going to be very, very quick, hopefully, and we're going to look to see if we can't get that next trade. It doesn't look like it's going to be Tesla. UNH is holding pretty well, but I got to go. We're going to go back to it there in a second, but we have to do something first because long this, we got to super chat everybody. Beers on Sean today. He loves some BBAI. I don't know if from Beantown he's watching what's going on with BBAI, but it's back on the warpath. That $8 level that's so key is trying to pull back in. So thank you very much. Long this, I'm assuming you are long this stock as you are happy about it. So appreciate it, long this. Show him some love in the chat there, everybody. Let's go over to Adara.
Keep an eye here on the market. Yesterday, of course, one of the biggest hullabaloos in the market was whether or not Donald Trump was interested in imminently firing Fed Chair Powell. Trump himself said he wasn't interested in doing that, though he still wasn't a fan of Powell's performance. Well, now we actually have Russell Voigt coming out here. That is the leader of, I guess, the budget here for the White House. And he apparently said that Trump has indicated he's not going to fire Powell. So just be aware here. Apparently, Trump has indicated he's unlikely to fire Powell. Just once again, more people saying, I guess, repeating this comment. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I called a little bit of Fugazi yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is smelling like a taco trade. But again, it was kind of it seemed really tailored, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. What do I know? Purposes behind that tailoring. I got a little bit, maybe perhaps a little bit more insight by some players on X last night, which I know for a fact are much better than I am. But yeah. Interesting action, a lot to learn from in this market. We were just saying this market is absolutely wild and crazy, and I am very, very glad and thankful to be kind of learning in this environment and growing as a trader in this kind of environment, because it's just absolutely beautiful. The kind of opportunities that we're being presented with, it's absolutely crazy. Yes, Sharif, it's absolutely crazy, I think. And there goes the futures. There's that buying coming right back in. We saw it at the end of the last candle. We're breaking that prior candle high now. Let's see if we can break fresh highs on the Nasdaq and the trading session on Nasdaq. 173. I'm watching you, NVIDIA. Are you going to pop that 173.10? That's that consolidation range high right now. That's in and around right here. Boom. Let's see if we can kind of push into that and take us a little bit further. 173.64 is the day high, Neil.
Yeah, like there's another name that I think I know you mentioned, and Pepsi is not normally the kind of stock that will do this, but a lot of times what will end up happening is you'll just get an old company which has been beaten up for quite some time, and then at the slightest sign of strength, you get a great breakout on Pepsi. It seems to really want this 200 period moving average. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Pepsi doesn't move like that. It's not going to get there today. I was wrong about that. It actually has an outside shot to continue this and get there. And if you're watching the structure of it from the open, it bounced off VWAP at the open. It held VWAP. So I think you've got something that you can lean into as long as it holds above that volume weighted average price. I think it looks pretty good over there. What is very interesting to me, and I just saw in the chat someone mentioning SBET has really lost a bid here.
Yo,
so like this is a risk of these custody names. Like if all you're doing is like a crypto custody thing, you can absolutely flush when nothing is going crazy in the underlying. And that's sort of the problem with these. They're pure momentum, but they're going to be momentum obviously bigger than the underlying. But it does have a bid here at 34, which is interesting because at 11:55, look at what happened right at VWAP. Whoops, you're not even on my, I didn't realize it's not even on my chart, guys. I don't know how long I was talking about this without you guys seeing, so I'll just reiterate. SBET is literally bouncing off a double bottom at the exact price where it broke out in the middle of the day at noon. So it broke out hard from here. So I think that turns this into a bit of a breakout long. Again, apologies if you guys didn't see SBET for most of that, but this looks very, very strong off the double bottom. When in doubt, I think you want to zoom out and make sure you look for those key price levels. So and also worth keeping in mind, the stock can do anything and it shouldn't surprise you. Like if it loses that bid and halts down, it wouldn't surprise me. So you trade this kind of a thing with stops. If we can't hold that double bottom, you could be in a world of hurt. It plays in both directions, everybody. So make sure you're zooming out and observing the chart from multiple time frames so you get a real sense of what the stock can do, but also what it has been doing. Great double bottom there on SBET. I'm still wanting to get back into Circle. This is about as quiet as I've seen Circle. Long consolidation off this 230 with the market going here. Usually this is a little bit, has a little more continuation pep in it, but it's done this before. Like you wait for it to make the next move. Maybe it'll be a hammer down and retrace, and then you take the breakout. But I'm eyeballing Circle for something like that. Hammer down into VWAP, quick little retracement long, or if it rinses people out, I just take the re-break through that 24 or 34, 35 area. And I think that's going to be the next trade for me, unless Tesla starts to look a little bit more constructive. Nice higher lows on Tesla, but I wanted 320. I didn't get 320 a second time, which means I'm waiting for it to reestablish the volume weighted average price. So kind of the same names I'm watching here. Still UNH short under VWAP, and of course Circle and Tesla on my mind. I don't think Circle can consolidate this long. Makes no sense.
Yeah, I think the longer that consolidation happens, the more of like a wind up and everything. I think building that pressure as of right now, and who knows when it'll pop. But the market is popping right now after building that pressure in the morning, off of the morning. It's still the morning session. It's been about an hour and 37, an hour off of the open, hour and 7 minutes off of the open, and yeah. Pretty strong market here. We got a little bit of a shake and bake coming in off the open, but we finally caught a bit of a bid as well. The Nasdaq much stronger than the ES. Now ES taking a little bit of a pullback, and NVIDIA still consolidating right here on top of this this consolidation that we've been having on VWAP from 10:06 now, so about 25 or 30 minutes roughly that we've been consolidating in and around this 173 mark. Again, day high coming in at 173.64 all the way up here. I got to get rid of this wick because I'm not necessarily looking at this chart as much, but I see it. I'm more, if you guys notice, I look at my book and my tape almost exclusively, to be honest. Almost exclusively, to be honest. And sometimes I'll be looking at a chart as well. I'm more trading off of the book, the level 1, the level 2, and the tape, the time and sales that you guys see as well. So if you guys want to know, NVIDIA right here, we can pull that up on the book. So this is what I'm staring at right here. So the book, the order book, and the tape as well. I got to see how the rainbow is printing and see if it'll give me any sort of a lucky charms on the way up or down as well. So 173, nice little chip chop happening on NVIDIA right now. Hello. Hold on. I got to know what she's buying. Yo, what's up? Ooh. Oh, you're selling. Damn, what are you selling? Dude, why are you always on the left side of the V? I don't get it. I don't understand. Maybe, you know what? Maybe you're the ultimate mean reverter.
That is cold-blooded.
I have no idea. But from what I've noticed, you're always on the left side of the V. I'm trying to learn how to get on the right side, so I don't know who you are. Bye-bye.
That was cold-blooded. It was. I'm just saying.
Oh, boy. Let's see if
that was just mean, Obi. Nah, I love it.
No.
That's absolutely hilarious.
You've been blowing up my phone.
It's kind of true, but she owns a bunch of Unity.
Oh, does she? Okay.
Unity is, all right, I have to double check. I don't actually know what, I'm pretty sure it's in the top 10 of the holdings, but I'm not entirely sure how big it is. I'd have to check it out. But I agree with K-Dubs in the chat. That deserves the like right there. So if you haven't, hit the like, hit the subscribe. That was absolutely. I don't care whether you like. I don't care whether you like her or not, or what your opinion might be. We can all have different opinions, but I'm sure she's smiling about Unity. That's all I'm going to say, because that's one of the bigger holdings.
She's got some good positions in her portfolio.
The thing I respect is the level of transparency. Like, I think it's a little bit over trading, but the level of transparency where you'll say, this is where we bought more of this is our price, and this is the reason why. And you can see that updated on a daily basis, which is pretty cool. That's the thing, like, you have to be willing to take your shot. This is where I'm getting in. This is what I like about it for continuation, but if it does that, I'm getting out. And then you stick to your word. And true to Anthony's word, when she likes something, she just keeps on doubling down on it. Like, her price in Unity was so good that I can't even believe it was real. Because I'm like, haven't you liked it from like 70% ago?
But what's her price on Unity?
It was under $30, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out how that's possible based on Unity's monthly chart. Pull up a monthly chart, it just didn't make any sense.
Okay, all right.
Oh, here we go. Ian Rispetto. Hey, Neil, does Dylon spit hot fire? You better believe he spits hot fire. Because the 5 greatest rappers of all time are Dylon, and Dylon. Because he spits hot fire.
Boy.
And that's, look, all day Chappelle show. The best skit, but...
He needs to have a freestyle battle with Super Hot Fire.
Yeah, but he's not a rapper, though.
But he's not a rapper. But he's not a rapper. Yeah.
But the market looks very good, Obi.
Oh yeah, it's looking nice. But NVIDIA chopping around. I'm watching these large caps, not really doing too much just yet. But let's see what the rest of the sectors are doing.
I neglect to report that the rest of the sectors are not doing very much, guys. We do have a lot of choppy action, I would say, across the board. There's a couple sectors that are pretty directional. Pepsi trying to lead consumer durables to the upside, along Coca-Cola, which apparently will be using sugarcane going forward, according to a Trump Truth Social post. There's some strength as well in producer manufacturing. There's weakness, on the other hand, in health services. Distribution also pretty weak. But everything else, like I said, pretty mixed here. Transportation. We've got DoorDash, Uber to the downside, but CSX is going to be up. Finance, pretty choppy here. Electronic technology, choppy. Technology services, pretty choppy as well. Retail trade, pretty flat. So it's really hard to find a clear direction, I would say, in this market today. A lot of these sectors actually not doing much of anything. So a bit of a mixed look on this sector board. That's the long and short of it. Back to you.
I did not say that. No, I did not say that, Conrad Clark. Absolutely not. But, wow, Esbet. Wow-wa-wee-wa. It's starting to get onto one. I just got to look back over what's going on here. ETH. Oh, of course I made the bottoming tail wick on ETH. Sometimes it just happens, but it's not really moving that much. So I feel like I should be able to get back into this if it retests VWAP.
There goes the futures.
Because the market just broke it back out again. Circle's not going. I don't know what's up with this
Bitcoin.
thing. It's just not today. Like Circle's still reverting back in. So I did one breakout with a tight stop, and I guess we're waiting for it to come back in. Bitcoin's going. ETH is trying to go. SBET is going. Coinbase, Coinbase is back to the upside here. So this could be an opportunity. Might be an opportunity. It doesn't make any sense to me that you'd have everything else go and Circle doesn't eventually make a move. So I want to look to revert this if we can bounce off the volume weighted average price over on Circle. NVIDIA is now no longer doing much of anything. Really,
I'm going to look away.
it's SBET that's going. Douglas Bunny, you red or green for the day? I'm slightly up because of Tesla. It's just that simple because Tesla's been Tesla. Like it gave you 2 trades on Tesla. I'm not even seeing anything. Like look how it's only clean at the top. Like even this entry is not even that great. Like it just happened to work out. Like the 320, or if you shorted the high. It's almost like this market every now and then just goes into this, or some stocks I should say, not this market, but stocks recently just go into this range bound trade where your best trade is to just wait for the low, the test of the high, revert both of them, and then move on to the next. But in terms of volume right now and where the action might be, SBET, this hold over VWAP structurally looks pretty good too, because it hasn't gotten all the way back to the highs, which I would argue yesterday's high in the open at 39 would be the next stop. Great double bottom, higher low here off VWAP would be a good structured bounce where you can come back into the 39 level. So I might, if Circle doesn't do anything, I might just have to throw SBET up here for the crypto-related play, I suppose, because it's not like a pure play over there in SBET. Let me know what else you guys are trading. Top VoIP says, look at how tight GME has been the last little bit. It wouldn't surprise me if this hasn't been moving that much because so many things, exactly what I was just talking about. Like, give me a break. Like you just wait for it to get into support, buy the support, hold it to resistance. Like it's ridiculous. So GME, whether it's GME or I was just pointing out Tesla doing the same thing, it's just that kind of market, like hit it and quit it type of game instead of sitting there holding on to something forever. It just doesn't seem like that's the play. Grunfield wants QS. I don't mind scanning things because I'm looking for the next opportunity with only 15 minutes to go. QuantumScape. Ooh, that's a good squeeze. What's the short float these days on QuantumScape? I'm going to look it up myself. I asked you guys, but if you guys can answer faster than I can look it up, that'd be fantastic. I see
you can get it much faster.
16% short float. That's not as big as I expected. I thought this thing was going to be a heck of a lot higher than that. So, but 18% looking pretty impressive. I know they had some news a while back. I don't know if there's a scanner, if there's anything that's popping up today for news on QS. I do see something from a few weeks ago, but yeah, I don't see anything for today on QuantumScape why it's up 18%. I would like to, this seems like it's got to be news-based, but nothing's popping up on the wire. I don't like trading blind. So when I don't know, I just say I don't know what's going on with it, but I do love this as a squeeze play. It's kind of weird that it would be up this much on such a strong press after consolidating. It could just be technical, Obi. Sometimes,
it is.
Sometimes you just consolidate like this, you break a double top, and it's just purely technical because it's a squeeze play. But I still want to maybe go on to X or something, see if I can find what might be going on here with QS.
Yeah, Douglas in the chat, Douglas Bundy asking, OB green or red? Well, guys, it's not easy being green, but yes. Thankfully, today a little bit lucky there. Taking some scalps. I mean, you guys have been here along the whole way. Not too many red trades. I'm taking quick scalps, right? So I think that's a little bit more directional. I'm not really seeing any sort of like level to levels right here. Nice little range consolidations. So yeah, it's like quick stuff. I like that stuff a lot. But I get into a little bit of a trouble when I'm trying to while I'm trying to play things that are level to level. as well. So again, something that I'm working on. You guys can see some of that with the reversions I try to take, kind of bringing them back into, I guess, the mean levels as well. But again, price action can be a little bit meaner sometimes and not really do it as cleanly. You can see NVIDIA finally trying to push. You can see the Nasdaq as well. Oh boy, that's pushing pretty aggressively. So some fresh highs here on the Nasdaq. And the question I asked Neil is, which one of these market leaders is the one that is leading this run? So right away,
Amazon?
Microsoft is, out of what I see, Microsoft is the strongest one out of all of them, followed by NVIDIA, of course, kind of trading a little bit higher, gapping up and pushing. Google as well. We got that flush, aggressive selling coming in off of the open, and then reverted that push pretty decently as well. So showing some buying on that one there. But we'll be right back from Adara.
Yeah, I'll just talk here about QS. I couldn't find anything on QuantumScape. Nice continued push to the upside. Lots of excitement on social media. People have been following this name. I guess they've been playing it for a breakout. It's an almost 18% short float, market cap around $7.4 billion. So this is certainly a name on watch. And we're also, while we're here, we're going to do this Money Talk segment. Here's the US dollar on the daily chart. And I mean, as I mentioned, this downtrend, we're basically breaking out of it. I would still like to see us make that break and hold above that 99.40 area. That would be the previous level of resistance or the most recent lower high. As of right now, we've tried twice to break out 99s and we can't do that. Let's see if either later today or tomorrow is the charm and we decisively break out of that key resistance level. Now, one of the biggest talks in terms of economic data and this market, other than these PPI and CPI prints that we had over the last few days, kind of mixed, is what's going on with Fed Chair Powell? Will he be fired? Will he have a job? Well, will the rates be cut? Today, we had Donald Trump, President of the United States, once again calling on Powell to cut rates in a Truth Social post. The CME FedWatch tool does not seem to agree with the probability of Trump's call because we're still at 97.4% chance of no cut in our July 30th meeting. Guys, that is now less than 2 weeks away. However, if you go back to September, we have about a 50% now chance of a cut. Now, it's also worth noting this is down slightly. Previously, we were seeing about a 60% chance of a cut in September. So not only are these July odds still expecting no cut, we're also seeing slightly dwindling odds of even getting a cut at the next Fed meeting. I am assuming that Donald Trump will not be too pleased about the CME FedWatch tool right now. Back to you.
Oh, yeah, no, he will not be pleased.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Don't be rude.
It don't matter. But
No.
hold on.
Thank you very much, Dara.
Nice. Let's go. I like that one. That reminds me. I gotta set up my stream deck today. I'm gonna do that during the lunch hour here. Only got about 10. Yes, Sharif. Tell him. Sharif's just like his first name's President.
It's so pretty.
See, I don't know this movie, but I like the dance. I'll join.
That's what it's all about. It's White Men Can't Jump. Make sure you watch the original.
Okay.
And not
the remake.
You know what? I didn't watch the new one, so I shouldn't even go there because I actually believe you shouldn't say you don't like something if you've never tried it. You shouldn't say you don't like something, a movie or a show, if you haven't watched it. And I have not watched the new one. I'm just not the biggest. Whoops! Why did I just get? Oh, I must have misplaced my stop. Do two things at once. All right, getting into S-bet on this bounce and meaning to put my stop under here. I just punched in and out flat accidentally. What I mean to do is put a stop underneath the prior bar. Anyways, if you've never tried a food, you can't tell me you don't like it. But on top of that, just because I love the originals and I'm not a huge fan of, I think, all the overdoing it that happens with remaking films and doing reboots and all that stuff, I think it gets a little bit much. That said, I should at least at some point give it a chance and watch the new one to see if it's any good. But it's an absolute classic. Woody Harrelson's hilarious. Wesley Snipes does a great job. Funny enough, the story goes with Wesley Snipes that he wasn't even any good at basketball when they filmed that. Oh. And it's the same thing with Major League when he was Willie Mays Hayes. Like, he stunk at baseball. And so he was like, he had to work really hard to make it look kind of good because he looks like he's ridiculously athletic. He's great at martial arts, but apparently he's just not good at either one of those sports. Or at least he wasn't when he went to shoot the films. But it just goes to show you put some hard work in and you can make anything happen.
Oh boy.
Almost anything happen.
Almost anything. I mean, Try to fly.
He was also Blade as well. And he's super athletic there, but.
No, I was saying, yeah, and almost anything within the realm of plausibility. I think it's.
Here's the example. Yeah. Fahad, who used to be on our production staff, we were out. Sean, Fahad, myself. We went to a basketball game. We went to the bar before. Oh,
there he is.
I might dunk on you.
Oh.
We love Fahad. We love Fahad. But we were out at the bar before. Going to a Raptors game, and we were just sort of, talking whatever nonsense, and somehow it came up. Somehow it came to Usain Bolt in track and field, and Fahad made the comment.
Yeah,
he goes,
like,
"I put my mind to anything. I can do anything." He's like, "If you give me enough time to train, I can beat Usain Bolt." And I was trying to explain
that is
to
the
him
level of confidence
that track and field is the type of sport. It doesn't training. You will get better if you train.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you train. There's so much of it is genetic that there is just nothing you can do, and he wouldn't hear it. I'm like, it's not that type of sport. You either have it or you don't have it, man. And as somebody who ran track, like when I could train however, I'm never gonna beat this other person. That's just life for some sports. But anyways, fortunately, that's not necessarily.
That's always an interesting talk because.
True. Not always true.
Yeah. That's an interesting talk because we can start delving into do we level the playing field with I know there's ethical questions around it, but with designer babies.
No.
No, you're not about that life. You're not about the designer baby life.
No.
Not what about for maybe not for athletic prowess, but what about for medical reasons and other genetic?
I think there's I think there's a vast difference between. Using technology to improve the lives in terms of health, but then trying to gamify the system just so you can. Because if you do that for sport, then it just turns into the only great athletes are the people that have a bunch of money, whose parents had a bunch of money. And but
you can make that technology accessible as well. Right?
Well, then,
what if arguably you made it very accessible to the general public?
If everybody,
that's the scenario I'm talking. If everybody could do it, does it make sense? Because then we'd be starting to push the limits of what humans can do in a very, very
You could convince me of that argument,
yeah.
But I think.
But why has it always got to be about the money, bro?
No, but the time period between where you introduce it to getting to that point would be very long. As Joe dropped something, would be so long that initially it would turn into exactly that, and that's what I would be concerned with. That's all. So anyway,
is Gattaca your plan for the future? Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Gattaca's a great movie. I love
beautiful movie.
Gattaca is fantastic. Just back to the market. Also, too. I didn't realize it's already 11:55. We'll get to what's for lunch in a quick little second. But in the vein of this being all about scalp trades, you were going off that 37. We didn't get any farther than the quarter, so I'm not giving it more than the quarter. Tight stops. And what's the next trade? I feel like that's what everything has been today. Either this is the turn, and either it goes or it doesn't go, and then you wait. And I know it's not everybody's style, but trust me, it works way better in the way the markets have been lately. With only 4 minutes to go, I said we go to what's for lunch, but I just saw something on NVIDIA when I looked up at my black charts, which is VWAP 172.5. Look at the supply zone. So we just had a bit of a dip, and we're holding that supply zone on NVIDIA. That does make it pretty interesting. And no full-time trader. I have not raced Fahad yet.
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen. Right?
Yeah, but the last time before I tore my Achilles last year, which is it was just over a year ago when I had my surgery. Before then, he never said, just show up and I'll race you anytime. And then the only time he said he's willing to do it is after I had torn my Achilles and was in rehab. So I'm not even at the point that I'm sprinting yet again. I can run, I can do 5K here and there, but I'm not really at the point that I could sprint. But the second I get to that point, then he can show up anywhere, anytime, and I will race him. I'm not I show speed, but he's not beating me in a race, okay? But it's almost 11 o'clock, everybody.
Yep.
I think we're in a strong market. I want to still look for some dip buys if we can, but I also want to see what is up with lunch today. Why? Because it looks spicy today.
Ooh.
No, not that kind of spicy. Actually, I don't even know if this is spicy. Because gochujang glazed chicken. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Gochujang?
I don't know.
Gochujang glazed chicken.
G-O-C-H-U.
How do I pronounce this, everybody?
Guchang.
Guchang? I don't know what it is. But
glazed
it sounds
chicken.
good. It's glazed chicken with whatever these noodles are.
Apache.
You want to say that one?
Apache noodles.
I don't know what that is. Fresh kimchi, that works for me, but I'm getting a salad anyways. So that looks like it's tasty.
People are saying it's spicy. Gochujang. Gochujang.
Gochujang. Okay, so gochujang, glazed chicken sounds absolutely delicious. I'll probably steal a little bit because, you know, there's always some leftovers which we can take advantage of, Obi. So that'll be part of the plan. But part of the plan is also to get back into NVDA as this market blasts. The Nasdaq up. The ES trying to go to the high of the day. There's the Nasdaq at the high of the day. The ES is lagging just a little bit. Ooh, this is a good question. Magma, what's your favorite protein? I don't have a favorite.
Chicken.
If I had to, well, it's chicken is what I probably have the most of, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's my favorite.
It's the most versatile kind of protein.
Like the meat that I enjoy the most is probably lamb.
Yeah.
If I'm talking about what if you're talking about what I enjoy the most,
yes.
But when I'm just trying to get protein, then I'm going with like lean ground beef or chicken. Like that's just what do I eat the most of? It's not the same thing as what I like the most.
Right. Yeah, that's
Go Bills, can you beat everyone else on Trader TV in a race? Well, in my current state, no, but in my current, like I said, I have done nothing but like jog and run 5Ks. And even that, I just got to 5K a month ago in my rehab. So I haven't even tried to sprint. But I'm actually going to try some strides or whatever. If I'm healthy, of course. I ran track and field. Like, am I beating Sean in pool? Hell no. Sean's a bit of a hustler.
Did I tell you about the pool games that we had?
He's a hustler.
He straight up sharked us.
Dude at a pool table. We used to go to his house in high school. We used to go to Sean's house in high school and play pool at lunch or after school. So he grew up playing pool every single day at home. So I've always known, like anytime someone's like, yo, I'm gonna play Sean pool, I'm just like, I'm not gonna say anything, but I already know what's gonna happen. So I ain't beating him at that because that's his thing. But no one's beating me in a race because that's my thing. The same way no one's beating Sharif in a push-up contest because he's a beast.
Oh, sorry, Joey.
Sorry, Joe. Joe and I like to go back and forth about that.
How many push-ups, Sharif, how many push-ups in a row can you do? Like straight.
Official?
Military push-ups. On the side.
Yeah.
Right.
Max I've
Ever done, like actually, but I can do more. I've done 65 in a row.
65.
Yeah.
Okay, nice,
But I can do more.
nice. That's solid. That's pretty solid. I like that. Yeah.
That's
I think.
legit.
I mean, it's been a while. I can probably only do like maybe 20 push-ups right now. But there was a time where I was able to do a 50. I think that was my max. But I was doing a little bit. I was definitely a little bit more athletically inclined then. I got to get back on that horse. Which reminds me, this gym literally 5 minutes away is opening in a couple of weeks, and I'm definitely going to join it because it's literally like time is everything, and if it's going to be open 5 minutes away from me or 5 minutes away from the office, I'm definitely doing that. Nomad saying 50 was the golden age of OB. Yeah, maybe, who knows? Hey, I might be able to work it back. Who knows? Maybe by next year I'll be challenging these guys to a push-up contest. That gym is going to be seeing a lot of me. Trust me.
I hope you are, but knowing Sharif, I don't know about that. That man is an absolute beast. It's past 11 o'clock.
I'll do calisthenics and
well, you should. Calisthenics are great, by the way.
I'll probably do 150 push-ups.
I'm a firm believer that most people, you don't need a gym, you don't need fancy equipment. You just need, honestly,
You just need all of this.
your body weight
need all of this.
and the will to improve, which is also what you need in trading. You guys owe us a couple of minutes. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. We're going right on over to the professor, who is in. Ooh, Zena. Zena is back. And Joey Options. Go get them, boys.
See ya.
Boom! Greetings and